ராமானுஜதயாபாத்திரம் ஞானவைராக்யபூஷணம் ஸ்ரீமத்வேங்கடநாதார்யம் வந்தே வேதாந்ததேசிகம் லக்ஷ்மீநாதசமாரம்பாம் நாதயாமுனமத்தியமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சாரியபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம் யோ நித்யமச்சுதபதாம்புஜயுக்மருக்மவ்யாமோஹதஸ்ததிதராணி த்ரிணாய மேனே अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अपाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनीं पूर्वाचार्यसुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघातदूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम् निगमकल्पतरोः गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवत रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमिदं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्तभाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावळी लोभनीयं पीयूषप्लवितोऽहं तदनु तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशम् तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत्सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयभृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळीं प्रसृतनखमयूकाङ्गुलीं सङ्गशारां हृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसदरागमुद्भाव्यमानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथीं योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्युतरुकिसलयं नाथ ते पादमूलं नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपते कृष्णा Karunya Sindho Krishna Karunya Sindho Ritva Nisheshatapan Pradishatu Paramananda Sandoha Lakshmi Ajñātvā te mahatvam yadiha nigaditam Vishwanatha kshametah Stotram chaitat sahastrottaram adhikataram Tvat prasadaya bhuyat Vedha narayaniyam Shrutishu cha janushastutyata Varnanena Sphitam leelavatararidamita kurutam Ayurarogya Saukyam Ayurarogya Saukyam Janaki Kanta Smaranam Gopika Jeevana Smaranam. With the abundant blessings of Paramatma Shriyapati, the benign grace of the Alvars and the Acharyas, here we are to witness the penultimate day of the most revered Srimad Bhagavata Saptaham series. In my stretch of 43 plus 2, 45 continuous lectures in the US, this is my penultimate lecture as well. So tomorrow, with the blessings of all the Astikas here, we shall be witness to Sri Rukmini Kalyanam, Parinayam, Vivaham, whichever way we wish to call it, in the first half of the day. So the Upanyasam shall begin at 9:30 a.m. sharp. And as the request was put forth yesterday, so once the lecture is over today, I won't have the saubhagyam of clicking pictures with you all, so I may have to leave. That said, in the Purva Charitram, we did discuss about the greatness of Parikshit Maharaj Chakravarti, who was the recipient of the Lord's grace right while he was in the womb of his mother, Uttara. Later, he did get the opportunity to be the recipient of the quintessential knowledge through Shuka Brahmam, the son of Veda Vyasa. So many people have this query in their mind. One hand, we are told that Vyasa gave us the 18 Puranas. On the other hand, we say Bhagavata Mahapuranam, which is an important part of the 18 Puranas, was delivered by Shuka, Veda Vyasa's son. Which is true? Is it the father Vyasa who has given the Puranas, or is it the son Shuka who has given the Puranam? Minorly, I'll mention the difference between Itihasa and the Purana. See, let's take up Ramacharitam. Rama was born, he lived at the age of 12, he married Sita. Sita was at the age of 6. Now we may have a doubt. Isn't this child marriage? Yes, it is. Is it right today? In the current day context, given the rules that we have, it is not advisable, be it for the boy or the girl. But norms do differ and vary, rules do vary in different periods of time. We should not look into the laws applicable today and judge the past. So in those days, it was the norm. I'm sure many of them, if you check up with your great-grandmothers, they would have also been married off early. Not that it was right or wrong, but in those days it was a norm. Rama was 12, Sita was 6. They lived happily for another set of 12 years in Ayodhya. So Rama was 24, Sita was 18. While he was entering the 25th year is when he was asked to go to the forest for 14 years. While he was 38, in the 13th year of their exile, Sita was abducted. So after annihilating Ravana in the war in Lanka, while Rama returned to Ayodhya at the end of 14-year exile, he was 39, Sita was 33. They lived happily for 2 years in Ayodhya. In her first trimester, during the gestation, she was sent to the forest. That time Rama was 41, Sita was 35. When when Sita was in the forest, Valmiki comes and escorts her to his ashramam. Did Valmiki know of them before? Yes. In Aranya Kandam, there is a mention where Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, amongst the rishis they visited, Sutikshna, Sharabhanga, Agastya, they also visit Valmiki's ashramam. So Valmiki at that point in time was somewhere in Madhya Pradesh and lower part of Uttar Pradesh. Then as Rama was completing the exile, he shifted his ashramam elsewhere closer to Tamasa river. That is when Valmiki escorted Sita to his ashramam. That is when Valmiki had a doubt. He had the query, I have always been under the assumption in the times that we live in, Rama is the ideal person. But something unexpected had happened. A king of the stature of Rama sends his own wife during gestation to the forest. He abandons her. Valmiki has this doubt. Is it right for Rama to do this? He's confused. He says, if other people do it, understandable. They are, it's a fulcrum of both the good and the bad. But he thinks, I have been viewing Rama as a repository of auspicious qualities alone. He has done this. Is it right? When he has such questions is when Narada Maharishi comes and asks, what are your questions? He says, Konvasmin sampratam loke gunavan. In the current world we are living, is there not one person who has good auspicious attributes? Because his assumption was Rama is not. That is when Valmiki suggests, no, Ikshvaku Vamsha Prabhavaha Ramo Nama Janaishrutaha. It is the same Rama who has 16 qualities. That is when Brahma later comes and says, Valmiki, it is high time that you start chronicling, you start documenting Rama's life history. Valmiki then asks, see, I know Rama's life history in parts. I have read about him, I have known about him. But I exactly do not know what circumstances led to his birth, how his boyhood was, how his marriage happened, what happened in Maharashtra, then in Kishkinta, because he went through all these places to go meet Sita in Lanka and then come. I don't have details about it. How will I write information? That is when he says in your yoga drishti, rahasyam cha prakasham cha. So, through whatever is sadasyam means what is known to everyone. Rahasyam, known only to a few. Rahasyam cha prakasham cha will be known to you in your yogic vision, like how you are able to see a gooseberry on your palm. See, if there's a gooseberry on the palm, I don't need a microscope and all of that to see. It's visible to the naked eye. So will the incidents be known to your yogic vision. Whatever you see, you write. That is when Valmiki thought, in the ages to come, if I write it like prose, people will just read it like Enid Blyton and Fountainhead, Ayn Rand, and then they will keep it in the shelf. The easiest way to remember some content is when it is in the form of poetry. So what he did was, whatever was known to him in his yogic vision, he started translating them, converting them into poetry. So in Sanatana Dharma, we believe that was the first poetry born. It is called Adi Kavyam. So Valmiki lived during the times of Rama. Point number 1. Point number 2, he completed the biography of Rama while Rama lived. See, you can live during a person. You can end up writing the biography of the person after the person's death. See, generally if you notice, after the person is gone, everybody will come and say, he used to meet me, he used to call me. You should tell all this when the person is living. So Valmiki did write. But did Rama agree to this? Because Rama has the moral right to say that these are the mistakes in my biography, correct them. See, if just for a second, I'm going to do something unimaginable. Imagine I am in Rama's position. Had I noticed this Vali Vadham Agni Pariksha, I would have told the person who's writing my biography, take those 3 portions out. Correct? Why controversy? I would have told. So this biography of Rama written by Valmiki during the times of Rama was recited in the presence of Rama by Lava and Kusha. So Rama has accepted that biography. This is called itihasam, when you live during that times and it is accepted. So it is more authentic. Whereas if you take a Puranam, an incident has occurred, let's say the incident has occurred last week. A person is witness to that incident, but the person whose witness is not writing, he will go tell another person, person B. B will tell C, C will tell D, and D may be the tertiary source. I have doubts. I will go ask D. D will tell me, see, I did not see, but C, B have told me that A has seen it. This is called Puranam. That is why you will have many places in the Puranas where there will be conflicting places. That is why in Shastram there is a rule. Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupa Brahmayet. When there is a conflicting scenario of the same incident between an Itihasa and Purana, choose the Itihasa. See, in maths, we have a rule called ILATE. Inverse, logarithmic, algebraic, trigonometric, exponential. If there are 5 elements, which one to choose in differentiation? So choose whatever is inverse first. Exponential should be given the last rule. This is called Purvapachcheda Nyayam. See, if you compare the sciences that we read today and you have a knowledge of your past, you'll be able to beautifully correlate what we have read in the past to the present. But when we have preconceived notions that the present sciences is the only way to rationalize things, then we may end up making a pantaloon and a buffoon of ourselves. Here, this is Puranam. Trust me, Ramayana Mahabharatam is Itihasam. Bhagavatam is a Puranam. Now come to the question. Vyasa lived during the times of Krishna. Shuka Brahmam did not live during the times of Krishna. Why? When Parikshit was the king, what was the age of Shuka? 16. So if Parikshit was the king at the age of 24 or 20, surely after Parikshit's birth only Shuka Brahmam would have been born. So technically Krishna's ascent to the heaven, which is his own Vishnu Lokam, happened before that. That is why he asked, tell me the life history of Krishna who protected me. If Krishna had lived, he would have gone and asked Krishna himself, right? So this is Puranam. So Vyasa told this to Shuka. How Shuka told to us is what I am trying to tell you. But we trust Shuka because he is the son of Vyasa. Who is Vyasa? Every day I am reciting one shloka. See, generally we deal with 2-3 functions. One is to, let's say I have to make Mysore Pak. I have to protect the Mysore Pak. See, if you make sweets, there may be people in the house, you are making sweets for the guests. But even before the guests arrive, the Mysore Paks will disappear. So making is important, protecting the Mysore Pak is even more important. Then finally it gets into us. Whether we survive after consuming those Mysore Paks for the next creation or not is the next doubt. Similarly, the functions of the world, the universe that we see, has creation, sustenance and dissolution. The shloka says Vyasa too does this. He comes up with works that create and make tough topics accessible to us. So he is doing Brahma's job. But we may question, Brahma has 4 heads, sir. Vyasa has 1. So the shlokam says Vyasa is Brahma minus 3 heads. A Chaturvadanor Brahma. Brahma a Chaturvadano. He is not the 4-headed Brahma. He is Brahma minus 3 heads is equal to Vyasa. He helps us sustain the content. That is why what he has given is preserved even today. So he helps us do the work of Vishnu. But Vishnu has 4 hands. He is Vishnu minus 2 hands. Dvibahur aparo harihi. He is the one who helps us get our sins annihilated, destroy our sins. He does the job of Rudramurti, Shiva. But Shiva has 3 eyes. He is Shiva minus 1 eye. So, apala lochana shambhu, apalam. means that odd eye which is there in the forehead. Apala lochana shambhuhu. Bhagavan Badarayanaha. Badarayana or Vedavyasa is Brahma minus 3 heads, Vishnu minus 2 hands, Shiva minus 1 eye. So what we are reading essentially is the quintessence in a way of our understanding of Sanatana Dharma. In that we have covered Parikshit's greatness, Vyasa Shuka's greatness, the content's greatness, learnt about some part of the creation. This is where I have to compare. Okay, before that I'll tell you what all we have covered. Matsyavataram, Kurmavataram, Varahavataram, Nisimhavataram, Vamanava Trivikramavataram, traces of Parashurama-avataram, 1-2 lines of Rama-avataram, and we have also covered few words about Balarama. We have also covered Rishabha-avataram and Buddha in some traces. We have also covered Dhruva Charitram, Pruthu Charitram. We have learnt of Daksha Yagyam. We have learnt of Kuchalopakyanam and Ambarisha Charitram. Correct? And Kapilopadesham. In this list, we are now in Krishna Avataram. Krishna Avataram, what is the philosophy, sir? He danced, he jumped, he ate butter, all that we know. Even little Krishna programs come. Right? So what is the greatness? There is something called as allegorical depiction. Allegorical depiction is when you choose to show the human qualities as characters. In the 10th century, those of you who are interested in learning or reading Sanskritam works, who all can make time. I won't say who all have time, because we all have time. You have to make time. So if you have the ability of time management and making time, please do go through a work which is based on the Advaita Siddhantam. It is an allegorical play called as Prabodha Chandrodayam. It is a drama by Krishna Mishra. Prabodha Chandrodayam. The characters will be Mahamoha, Avidya, Anubhuti. These are the characters. Whatever we read in Advaita Siddhantam will be the characters. Similarly, Vedanta Deshika, the tall, towering personality in Visishta Advaita, gave a work on this philosophy. It is called Sankalpa Suryodayam. Understand what was the previous one? Prabodha Chandrodayam, rise of the moon. Vedanta Deshika gave a work based on Visishta Advaita. It is called Sankalpa Suryodayam. This is Chandrodayam, that is Suryodayam. So there used to be a joke amongst the scholarly community in those days. Will the Madhva leave? If a Shankara Sampradayam person has given Chandrodayam and a Ramanuja Sampradaya person has given Suryodayam, will a Madhva Sampradayam person leave? So it used to be a joke that he gave a work called as Ubhayagrasta Rahodayam. So who is the one who catches Chandra and Surya? Rahu. Ubhayagrasta Rahodayam. It used to be a joke. So we used to have such intellectual jokes in those days. So what was the reason for this joke? That means you should have read both the works and come for the lecture in those days. Now that we have these works, there is an allegorical depiction. In Dashamaskandham too, there is an allegorical depiction. Krishna is mentioned as the one who's born with lotus-like eyes. Where was he born? In a place that was infested with crimes. See, generally we say, right, if you do this, you have to go to the jail. So jail is generally believed to be a places where there are criminals, people who have committed crimes. And who was the one who has imprisoned the criminals? He was a bigger criminal called Kamsa. So look at the Rajyam there, administration, criminals who live. So it is like the marshes. See, if you take up the marsh in a pond, I don't know how many of my young friends here might have gone to a lotus pond or a lily pond. It will be marshy. And there beautiful flowers are born. Pankajam means the one that is born in the marshes, marshy land. So marshes means something which is already a bit odd, dirty, and makes us also dirty. When you get into the marshes, you will also get dirty. So it's a place that is not very well organized, not very clean, is our belief. That is when Krishna was born in the jail, like how a lotus is born in the marshes. He was born to annihilate the dirtiness, the muck, the blemish. Like how a lotus is born. That is why his eyes are described as Tamadbhutam Balakam Ambujekshanam. So he is born to dispel the darkness. What is he going to give? See, something has to do good to us. What will he give? Dharmam, whether he'll give us the right mind, one. Whether he will give us that pleasure to enjoy ourselves, our family, the riches around us, two. Will he give us the money to enjoy our life? 3. Will he help us get rid of the first 3 and give us moksham? 4. That is why he was born with 4 hands. Dharma, artha, kama, moksham. So this is the next depiction. Does he help us in cross the ocean of samsaram? Bhava ditarano mule danityaga raja karambidi broche vare vare. Bhavaditarano mule dani. Tyagaraja says, I don't have a way to get rid of this family. Because, see, life is so mundane now. Why, if you ask people why you change jobs, they'll say, see, 1 month I stuck, same work I have to repeat. Our existence is also like that. Every morning breakfast, lunch, dinner, same thing. What do we do now? What do we change? That's why we keep changing bodies. Jivatma keeps on going, like how we change jobs. Jivatma keeps going on changing bodies. So now at one point in time, imagine wisdom 2 dawns upon us. It is very rare. If that wisdom comes, then we have to ask a way to cross from one place to the other. That is why crossing of Krishna from Mathura to Gokulam is akin to the Jivatma leaving the Leela Vibhuti and going to Nitya Vibhuti. So every part of Bhagavatam has a Vedanta in it. Since we take it only to the description level, we are not able to see the Vedantam in it. 1. Second, there are too many things in Bhagavatam which I have to cover, but one point I have to mention. The essence of Bhagavatam has been given in the form of a beautiful Sanskritam work called as? Very good. Narayaniyam in the 16th century. But the circumstances that led to the birth of Narayaniyam was slightly different because Bhattadri had acquired the rheumatoid arthritis, Vatarogam, which his Acharya Trikandiyur Achyuta Pisharoti was suffering. While he was seated clueless as to how to spend that time of excruciating pain. How do I spend that time? That is when Tunjat Ramanuja Eluttachan, the author of Adhyatma Ramayanam, said, Meenattottu Kootuga. Begin with the fish. So, if I had been in Bhattadri's position, I would have gone to the closest restaurant. I would have looked at what Venkatesh Bhatt has said, some Matsya Puruchakuttu, or I would have bought. He got the right meaning. Begin with the Avatara Kramam, right the essence of Bhagavatam. And he started composing Narayaniyam. While he brings the essence of Bhagavatam in Narayaniyam through simple, beautiful Gambhirya verses, there is one place which people keep citing as the panacea to the cancer thing that we see around. What is that verse? Asmin Paratman Nanupad. See, everybody knows that. Asmin Paratman Nanupadma Kalpe Twamithamitta Pita Padmayonihi. That is the 8th Dashakam, verse number? Everybody knows that. 8th Dashakam, 13th verse. This was mentioned by Kanchi Paramacharya to one of the devotees. Recite this for cancer. See, Sanatana Dharma will never make irrational decisions. It will not tell the patient, don't go for chemo. It will say, listen to what your doctor says. Sanatana Dharma believes in science. It says, listen to what the doctor says. Don't take the vaccine. All that it won't say. Listen to what the doctor says. At the same time, believe that there is a bigger doctor called Vaidyo Narayano Harihi. Along with the belief, for anything you need that belief. Believe in what the doctor gives, whatever molecule he gives. At the same time, believe in a doctor bigger than the doctor who is giving you that medicine. Have a combination of both. So Paramacharya said, keep reciting the 13th verse of the 8th Dashakam. Asmin Paratman Nanupadma Kalpe. The essence of the verse is how Brahma was born on the lotus in the Pralaya Kalam, in the Manvantaram. Now he did not give a reason why you have to recite that verse. I kept thinking, because there should be a reason. If at all he wants the student to recite any verse of Narayaniyam, he doesn't have to give a number at all. He could have said, recite any verse that you come across. Why 8th Dashakam? Why 13th Shlokam? Because I thought, I may be wrong, this lotus is born. I kept discussing about the lotus, right? Brahma is seated on the lotus. Lotus is born amidst the marshes. In a place where you can't imagine such a beautiful thing to be born, is born the lotus. Lotus is not born in a neat place like dancing with the daffodils. No. It's not a scarlet pimpernel. It's not a daffodil. It's not a rose. Roses all the way with myrtle mixed in my path, like Matt says, Browning. It's not there. It is born amidst the marshes. You can't even expect a beautiful flower as cool and soothing as what the lotus is to be born amidst the marshes. Similarly, our cells. We have read about mitosis and meiosis, right? So there are certain occasions where the cells do understand through the intellect that they have that there are some aberrations in the cell. Once that is understood by the cell, there is a programmed cell death called apoptosis. It has to undergo that death. If such cells don't undergo that death, those cells get accumulated and form tumors. They could be benign or malignant in nature. So essentially, the cell loses its ability to tell to itself, die. You have a mistake. When it doesn't say, it accumulates. So in these cells which have mistakes, which have blemishes, there should be the birth of new cells which give hope to the person, like how the lotus is born amidst the marshes. So Paramacharya must have recommended this shloka for cancer. Now that said, let's come back to Sri Krishna Avataram. In Krishna Avataram, Krishna was given to that lady who said, I will be the witness. I'm sure a lot of you who have read colonial literature like the Tests of the D'Urberville, Oliver Goldsmith will know. In the colonial period, there used to be a belief that the mother who has delivered the child, if she feeds the child, she will lose her youth. So at one point in time in the UK, I'm talking 150, 200 years back, mothers wouldn't feed the children. So that is when there was a concept, you used to bribe the economically challenged women and then ask them to give milk. They were called wet nurses. So Putana was a wet nurse, but not because Yashoda didn't give. Yashoda gave, and she wanted another mother to also experience Vatsalya, motherhood. So she gave. Putana died. The boy was kept in a beautiful cradle next to a shakatam. The shakatam went away. Then he was kept on the pedestal outside the house, a raised pedestal. In Tamil, it is referred to as Tinnai. Tinnai is always outside the house. One of the architectural marvels, because you don't have to bring the guest inside the house. You can make the person sit there. So, while he was kept in the Tinnai, that is when there was a tornado. You get in Louisiana state la varunla tornado. So the Trinavarta, the tornado's elder brother, Trinavarta, he came in Gokulam and took away the child, and then as the child was dropped on a huge rock, the rock broke. And then Krishna was born. So she was extremely worried. Oh, what is this? We have not even named this little boy. So many incidents are happening. So it was a belief amidst the villagers, to use the nails of tortoise, of tiger, in a black rope, like a talisman. It's called the Talat Raksha, and it was tied to Krishna. Now, Parashara Bhatta, 1000 years back, he says, when I look at Ranganatha in Srirangam, to my eyes, I see the Talat tied by Yashoda. He says, Vakshasthalyam tulasi kamala kaustubhair vaijayanti sarveshatvam kathayati taram rangadham nasyadastam kurma vyagreenaka parimalair panchaheti yashoda Nadha maugdhyabaranam nassamadhim dinoti. Alvar says, Alagiya aimpadayum aramum kondu. So she wanted to protect the child. These were the little ways that Yashoda could come up with. Then the name had to be given to Krishna, to the boy. Sorry, wrong dialogue. The name had to be given to the boy. So Gargacharya took the boy along with Nandagopa to the cowshed and said, Let's call him Vasudeva from today. Because Vasudeva means Vasudevasya Puman Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva. But Nandagopala was like us, he didn't know Sanskritam. So it is a very good name, he said. He was unaware that Gargacharya had known this is the boy of Vasudeva. So he registered in the certificate as Vasudeva. But Nandagopala said, it's a very big name. Vasudeva. Give a short name. In Bengal, whenever I used to go for work, they'll say Dushyanth. Dark naam batao. Pet name. So, what was the pet name? He was given the name Krishna. Krishna. Nakaram should be there. That Krishna. Na. See, every letter in Sanskritam has a beauty. If you say Krishna, wrong. Krishna. The sha should be stretched, ka should not be stressed, na should be stressed. So your nose should go up, Krishna. It should go up and come. Krishna. Nakaram should be there. That's a dhatu given in Paniniya Vyakaranam. What does Krishna mean? Dark. Dark. Imagine, my name is Krishna. I'm going to school. What's your name? Krishna. What does it mean? Dark. What? Does it make sense? Will you call somebody dark? He may be dark, but dark cannot be there. Karupu. Some may take it offensive also. See, Bharata Desham, all our heroes, heroines are all dark, we don't have a problem. But some may take it offensive. So remember this clearly. Bhagavatam doesn't state he was given the name Krishna because he was dark. Krishna, Krish and Na, when they come together, means the one who removes the sins of the person who chants his name. That is the meaning. So he is the sin annihilator, sin remover. Incidentally, the meaning of Krishna also is dark, and that name met in him. See, you can be Krishna and be as fair as butter. So and you could have both these meanings not in you. Neither are you dark, neither are you the sin remover. You're a sin performer. But you could be Krishna. But in Krishna, both met. He was the remover of the sins. That is why in Sri Rudram, how many of you know Rudram? So, in the third Anuvakam, Namakakubhaya nishangine stena nam pataye namaha. Correct? Sthayunam pataye namaha. Taskaranam pataye namaha. Anuvakam in Rudram says Taskaranam pati, Sthayunam pati. What is the meaning? Commentator says the one who is a thief. Thief is called Taskaranam pati. Will you call the Lord, will any religion call the Lord a thief except Sanatana Dharma? Your Sthayunam, Taskaranam pati means pickpocket thief. That too Vedam clearly states God is pickpocket. ये क्या है सर आप वेद वेद बता रहे हो அதற்காகத்தான் நாங்கள் தமிழகத்தில் இதை எதிர்க்கிறோம் இறைவனை பொறுமையுடையோர் தரணி ஆழ்வர். Be patient. Why pickpocket? Because a pickpocket thief, when he steals, will make sure that the person from whom he is stealing will never feel the pain. Only after you lose, you will know. Vedam says he's a pickpocket thief because he steals the sins that we have committed from us to make us good. So he's a pickpocket thief. Harihi, harir, harati papani. Haranam means to steal. Why is he called Hari? Because he steals. What does he steal? Papani. Sins. So we have to understand here that Krishna means the one who removes sins. Incidentally, the second meaning is he is also dark. So Krishna was given this name. After Krishna was given this name, now slowly the boy has to start opening his mouth. Some little one or two words eventually he has to speak. Slowly as the months come by. So Yashoda used to teach him. Tell the word amma. That is when one Kavi says how lucky she was. She is teaching the one from whose breath the Vedas have emanated to utter a word. Is she qualified? The Acharya says, Idakkai valakkai acharam theriyadaval. She wouldn't know. You see, even we don't know. That is different. See, when I went to Pilani, I realized, first of all, there was a change in the cuisine from rice. Many of the days we used to get chapati. Very good friends I used to have from Delhi, Gujarat. Used to be very good friends. That is when I realized how much of bhakti they had on Nrsimha. When they eat chapati, Sata patala bhishane sarabhasa attaha sodbhate idakkai valakkai acharam tiriya. So, here Yashoda, she tells him, Irelu bhuvanangal படைத்தவனை கையிலேந்தி சிராட்டி பலூட்டி தலாட்ட என்ன தவம் செய்தனை யசோதா எங்கும் நீரை பரபிரம்மம் அம்மா வென்றழைக்க. She used to teach him how to walk. Whom did she teach? Day 4, the one who measured the worlds. She tells him, yeah, keep that foot, right, keep that foot forward. Padais trivikranti jagatrayam tam sambhavaya balita balabhavam karena sangrihya karambujagram sancharayamasa. See, later Tyagaraja says, Rama walks slowly. నిన్ను జూడవచ్చు భగిని కరంబు చిలుక మనసు రంజిల్లని మహిమలను పలుక. తెలుగులో భగిని నిన్ను చూడవచ్చు, the one, your sister who came to see you, భగిని కరంబు చిలుక. She's holding the parrot in her hand. She's telling Rama, I know you are waiting to marry Sita, but don't walk so fast. People will think you're desperate. Walk slowly. Hejjarikaga rara he Ramachandra. Here Krishna is walking slowly. Sancharayamasa shanair Yashoda. She teaches him how to walk. Now, she calls him to take bath. I told you, right? If Krishna sneezes, 10 shlokas will be written. If Krishna opens his mouth, 20 shlokas. So in Krishna Avataram, all the poets and composers competed with each other. So he was called to take bath. Krishna used to say, water conservation is important. I took bath last month also. And then he used to apply the silver powder all over his body. Dark background, silver powder, argentum all over him. He used to come and show, am I looking good now or will I good look after taking bath? For a second, Yashoda used to be mesmerized looking at his spotless beauty. Then she would come back to her senses and say, no, you have to take bath. See, my brother's daughter, Neela. Her name is mentioned in Harivamsham, which is an appendix of Mahabharatam, as Neela. In the Tamil classical texts, see, you may be wondering, because, see, his mother tongue is Tamil. That is why he is talking about Tamil. I speak Kannada, I speak Telugu, I have great reverence for Malayalam. I am not this language biased person. I sing from all verses. But with whatever little knowledge I have of the ancient texts and inscriptions, if there is one or two languages which compete with each other, have a healthy competition, it is Sanskritam and Tamil in antiquity. There is no doubt. You want me to quote inscriptions from temples, I can quote from the date. You want me to give Sangam texts, I can give. Even some of the foreign works that talk about such ports mentioned. So there is no doubt. Not that the other languages are fairly new. Even we have inscriptions of Karana, Hale Kannada, it is called till about the 6th century AD. All Indian languages are old. But these two compete for their historicity, extremely old. In the classic Sangam text, Neela is called Pinnai. Since she is good Pinnai, Nal Pinnai, she is called Nap Pinnai. So Yashoda tells, see, if I get you married to my brother's daughter, she will come home and notice that her husband, who is you, my son, is not taking bath. She will laugh at me. நப்பின்னை காணில் சிரிக்கும் மாணிக்கமே என் மணியே மஞ்சனம் ஆட நீவாராய் வெண்ணை அணைந்த குணுங்கும் விளையாடும் புழுதியும் கொண்டு தின்ன இவ்விரா உன்னை தேய்த்து கிடக்க நான் ஒட்டேன் எண்ணெய் புளிப்பழங்கொண்டு எத்தனை போதிருந்தேன் நனல்லறிய பிரானே நாரணா நீராடவாராய். She's calling her son the way she calls. But we have a traditional way in Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam bequeathed that we have to recite all these verses in a set of few days. It is called Adhyayanotsavam. Before and after Vaikuntha Ekadashi, we have a paddhati of completing all the 4,000 verses. Now we can't keep singing every pasuram. Manikame en maniye, maniye, maniye. When will this get completed? வெண்ணை அளைந்த குணங்கும் விளையாடும் பொழுதியும் கொண்டோ தென்னை விரா உன்னை தேத்து கிடக்க நான் ஓட்டேன். அதர் பர்சன் வில் ரன். எண்ணெய் புளிப்பழங்கொண்டு மாமா வெயிட் மாமா இங்கே போதிருந்தேன் நன்னலறிய பிரானே நாரணா நீராடவாராய். Only if we go at this speed we can complete. But here Alvar's Pasurams, if you have time, you have to experience through music. Thalamum innisai tamilisai tandavallal. Anyway, so he used to take bath. Now, the next important Sambhavam in Krishna Avataram is Navanita Chauryam, stealing of butter. Many of my friends from other countries and civilizations have asked, what is this, sir? You have so many verses for one incident, stealing butter. But it is symbolic of the Jivatma, say our Acharyas. Butter, which is the consumable portion, enjoyable portion, bhogya vastu, is like the Jivatma. Krishna is the Paramatma. He goes pot after pot to consume the butter, which means he wants the butter to get rid of the pot. The pot is the material body. He goes and takes all these steps to take the butter out of the body. You should not go to next pot. That is why Purandaradasa brings this essence in a composition. Taraka bindige na nirig hoguve tare bindigeya bindige hodadare onde kasu tare bindigeya bindu madhavana ghattakke hoguve tare bindigeya. So he talks about the essence of Navanita Chauryam. Now what Krishna used to do is he used to go house after house, break their hard work, break their pots, take the butter and come. So the women, we may look at the verses and think they are angry, they will show anger. But if he doesn't come for one day to steal the butter, they'll feel sad. So it was like the couple's relationship, love-hate relationship. அவர் இருந்தாலும் நன்னா இல்லை, இருந்தாலும் நன்னா இல்லை, இல்லைனாலும் நன்னா இல்லை, அந்த மாதிரி. So he used to go to one house, take the butter, break the pot and come. So the lady of that house would run behind him, Madhava! She used to chase him. The other lady used to keep running at the other hand, Keshava! The other lady, Damodara. So one lady who used to collect the forest fruits and used to come and sell those jamun fruits. I don't know if you know jamun. Jamun is... நாகப்படி எனக்கு தெரியாது இங்கிலீஷில். What is the English name? Jackfruit. Stand up on the bench. What is the English name? Black currant. Black currant na draksha kudo. Okay, black currant. Any other name? Jungle berry. Apro? Java va. Java fruit. Java plum. Okay, Java plum, black raisin, whatever. Okay, so that you, Indian blackberry. That is a very good name. So finally, you have understood what jamun is. Oh, that is the point. Now this lady used to come and sell jamun. So her sale should have been jamun, 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 jamun. But as she used to walk into the street, one lady used to keep running, Damodara. The other one Keshava. The other one Madhava. So she was so engrossed that in a few minutes, Instead of saying Jamun, Jamun, Keshava Damodara Padmanabha, she started selling. That is why Leela Shuka says, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. She started telling the names of the Lord instead of telling the possession that she was selling. That is why the Abhang Swami says, this bazaar used to have sale, but it had the sale of the names of the Lord. Namatsa Bazaar, Pandari Namatsa Bazaar. It had the Lord's name that was sold. Now, after this, in Navanita Chauryam, the point is I have to think and quote, because there are so many verses and pasurams, I have got too many portions to cover. I'll just give you one or two examples. In butter is generally referred to as Navanitam. What is that butter? If you go to Costco or Patel Brothers, wherever you go, next to that Honest, you go there. So if you go there, butter will be in the shelves. That is Navanitam. Old butter is Navanitam. So Navanitam, it is called new, but it is old butter. In Sanskritam, what is new butter called? See, in chemistry, I don't know. When you have oxygen reactions, there are a few where you say that fresh oxygen reacts. It is called nascent oxygen. You put them within braces. See, what is fresh butter? It is called Hayyanga Veenam. Fresh. It should be just then. See, there is always a difference in the taste between new dosa, hot dosa, and heated dosa. Heated late butter is Navanitam. Fresh butter is Hayyanga Veenam. That is why Vedanta Deshika says he used Hayyanga Veenam. Nevertheless, when Navanitam used to be given to Krishna, Krishna was a very bulky boy. Rama was very diet conscious. Every day he'll measure 15 calories, protein. He used to shake that whey protein. Biceps, triceps. Krishna was like us, let us see. 2 days before the medical test, he won't have sweets. So Krishna is like us. So all food used to go into very bulky boy. So he used to be given Navanitam. But he couldn't sit also. He was so bulky, he had to crawl. So the scorching rays of the sun in Uttar Pradesh used to make the ball of butter melt. It used to. And as the butter used to melt, those places were wet and greasy. So he used to find them very slippery. Whatever said and done, the butter wouldn't reach his mouth. Imagine you want something, it's very close yet not very close. So that is when he used to start drooling. You know what is drooling? What is drooling? Jollu. See, Jollu has an emotion. Drooling doesn't have. Okay, anyways, he used to drool. And you know that feeling that I have not been able to consume the butter, which is very close, used to make tears roll down his cheeks. Copious tears, Jollu, butter melting, and as he used to crawl, the little bells that were attached to his girdle used to make those rhythmic movements. So when Annamacharya looks at the beautiful Lord of Srinivasa, Venkateshwara Swami over Tirumala, he says, I am not seeing that 9-foot God. All I am seeing in front of me is a beautiful boy called Krishna, with the tears and the drooling happening, with the melting of the butter, with this rhythmic sound of the bells attached to his girdle. I see him that way. Kati ghatita mekhala khachita mani ghantika patala ninadena vibhrajyamanam kutila pada ghatita samkula shinjite natam Chatula natana samujvala vilasam bhavayami gopala balam manasevitam tatpadam Chintayeyam sada bhavayami Gopala balam manasevitam tatpadam Chintayeyam. Tiruppan Alvar, one of the revered Alvars in the Sri Vaishnava tradition, says, he has just sung a few verses called Amalanadi Piran. He says, if at all there has to be a scene, a beautiful portrait in front of my eyes, while my Jivatma is departing from the body, you know how it should be? He aspires that the little boy who has stolen butter from the pot looks left and right to check if somebody is noticing me, unaware of the fact that he is leaving a few traces of his stealth on his face. Kondal vannanai kovalanai vennayundavayan ennullam kavarndanai andarkon naniyarangan ennamudinai kanda kangal mattonninai kaanave. Sir, who popularized this pasuram? Chennai Express. Anyway, see, we should give credit even to the movies. They make a few things famous. At least by this, let people know. When I said Varahavatam, Rishabh Shetty. Varaharubam. That Rubam is there. Now, Yashoda used to work really hard to accumulate the butter in a pot of buttermilk. You won't let the butter stay like that. There will be some buttermilk that will come out of it. Huge pot. The fulcrum of her hard work for a week. And she used to hang it from the ceiling. And she used to be feeding Krishna. And one day while she was feeding, she realized that the milk cooker was making noise in the kitchen, which means she has to go switch off. In those days, you had to take the fuel stick out, which means there won't be heat. She had to do that. So she left Krishna halfway while feeding and went in. The one big mistake, flaw, limitation that Krishna has is, if you are devoted to me, remain devoted only to me. That O-N-L-Y he stresses. I don't know, somehow he has that bad habit, he should change. He says, Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Trust in me. Surrender to me. No. See, I love 2-3 other people. You should not expect my love to come to you. Then he says, I will leave you. Sir, he should change. That's what I told you. This is a bad habit in him. Go tell him. So when Yashoda left him halfway, he thought, I will teach her a lesson, stood on the mortar, took a stone and hit the pot, the hard work that she had for 1 week. All the butter fell on him with the buttermilk. So the commentator in our Sampradayam writes, Kshirarnavattil kidandavan morarnavattil irukindran. The one who used to lie in the ocean of milk now lies in the ocean of buttermilk. This lady comes. She says, I need to be taught a lesson. I've been sparing the rod and spoiling you, my child. I'll teach you a lesson. She starts chasing him. This incident is mentioned in Bhagavatham. Sanjata kopas puritarunadharam sandrishya dabhirdadi mantha bhajanam bhitva mrisha shrudrisham ashmanaraho jagasa hayyangavamantaram gataha. Bhagavatam states that Krishna broke the pot with a ashmana, with a stone. This is there in Bhagavatam. What is the essence of Bhagavatam? Narayaniam. See, every now and then when I ask questions, you should all be ready. See, in the school days, I remember if the teacher used to teach benzene resonance stabilization the next day, if we know previous day, we will read and go. So that if the teacher asks, we can raise our hands. I am telling you the portions, then also you are not answering. What is the essence of Bhagavatam? Very good. So in Bhagavatam, Shukha Brahmam says, Krishna broke the pot with a stone. The essence of Bhagavatam in Narayaniyam, let's see what Bhattadri says. Sami pita rasa bhanga sangata krodha bhara paribhuta chetasa mantha danda mupagrihya patitam hanta deva dadi bhajanam tvaya. He says that Krishna broke the pot with a stick. He has written what is not there in Bhagavatam. There it was stone, he has made it stick. What we will say, adjust panikalam sir. But Bhattadri started crying. He said, how can I say something which is not there in Bhagavatam? There it is stone, here I have mentioned stick. He started crying. His brother who was documenting, Matradatta, said, don't cry. Don't cry, Karayanda. No, Bhattadri, problem unnilla. Pinne nokika. There are 2-3 ways. What we will do, backspace, copy, or I don't know if you, here they won't, we'll do that. We'll do somehow manage. But you can't do that on a manuscript because you're inscribing. See, knowledge accumulation and retention was tough in those days. You know why? Raw material was very little. Here you copy, you send one Kindle version. You take one photo, you scan that, there you crop it and then send. Easy it has become. Those days, Matsya Puranam, I'm giving you an example. Matsya Puranam will have only one copy manuscript. It will be there somewhere in Odisha. So one scholar will read that for 2 days, like circulating library, he has to read. As he reads, he has to retain it in his memory. Then he will close it and give it to another scholar who has come to Odisha. He will bring it to Andhra. The scholars there will take turns and read. They will get only one chance. They will have to read. After reading that, then that particular manuscript will be taken to Tamil Nadu. So it will go so fast. So people have to retain. That is why in Ramayanam, Valmiki Ramayanam itself, you have 3 recensions. Which is, you have a northwest, north, east, and east, northwest, and south. Dakshinamnayam. So we have 3 recensions. So there will be some minor differences. Why? Because they have to retain and reproduce, right? There will be some minor variations. So you cannot delete. That is when Bhattadri was a lot perturbed and he closed his eyes. Suddenly he heard the breaking of a pot. He opened his eyes. He saw that Garbhagraham had vanished. A little boy was breaking the pot with a stick. So what the Lord was intimating was, that day too, Bhattadri, I used the stick and the stone. Shuka Brahmam saw the incident from there. So it was a front view. You have seen the top view. In AutoCAD, you have the top view also. So you have seen the stick. So what you have written is right, says the Lord. Now, one day Yashoda, who started chasing him, said, I need to teach you a lesson. She took him to the front yard of her house. I told you, it's like our garage. So she looked where to find somewhere to tie him. She found one mortar, which was not used for many days. By then they had ninja. So she thought, I need to tie him to the mortar. Then she got one rope, but she didn't get one quality of one rope at a stretch. So she got a rope which was the compendium of many ropes, smaller ropes, tighter ropes, green color, yellow color, all of that was tight. So such useless small ropes tied together into a long rope is called as Kanninun Siruthambu in Tamil. So she said, Krishna, come here, I'll tie you. He started crying. She pulled him. Every time she wanted to tie, there used to be a shortage of about 2 inches. Then she used to tie another part. Again, shortage. She found it very tough. The boy said, give it to me, I will tie it on my own. Kanninun Sirutambinal Kattunna Panniya Perumayan. He was tied. For a moment, she was startled. She didn't know which was the mortar and which was Krishna. Both were dark. Both were broad at the top, thin in the middle, broad at the bottom. The commentator asks, then how did she spot the difference? One cried, the other didn't. So she tied and she said, Yedi Shaknoshi Gachatvam. Vishnu Purana Vakyam, Parashara says, Yedi Shaknoshi Gachatvam. Ati Chanchala Cheshtita Sa Chakara Kutumbini. This lady tells him, you move out of this place, I will teach you a lesson. And she goes, Parashara wonders, what is happening? We are meditating on him through Brahma Vidya, Dahara Vidya, Antaraditya Vidya, Purushottama Vidya, Nasya Vidya. one lady comes and says, you move from this place, I will teach you a lesson. Is this Krishna avataram? Or is this the avataram that showcases accessibility, Saushiliam? Biramanum indiranum manadil poramai kolla uralil katti vaipoti kenja vaithai taye enna tavam seidhanai Yashoda engum neerai parabrahmam amma vendralaika. Now Krishna won't stay silent. He was eating that little butter in that small cavity of that mortar. He was crying yet eating. So as you eat, see, generally there's a paddhati. I'm sure the men who wear panchakacham will know, when you're seated for eating, you technically loosen one kacham. Because something is getting in, there will be a natural body expansion. So you will loosen the kacham. So Krishna was tied with the damam. Damam means rope. In the udara bhagam, which is stomach. Manda udari, mandodari. It's not mandodari. It's mandodari. Very, very thin, size 0 stomach. So that is mandodari. Here his dama udaram damodara. So he was tied here. As he was having the butter, that slowly tightened, so that slowly the rope started moving to a place where it won't find that constraint. It moved to his chest. The commentator immediately wrote, this is the only lady who tied her son along with her daughter-in-law. Because Mahalakshmi is here. Pennodu சேர்த்து மனாட்டு பெண்ணையும் கட்டி போட்டவள். Is it? Can you even imagine the situation today? The vice versa may happen. Yavad outpatiko rishto vrajam nabhiraveditaha tavad balanupadaya yasyamo nyatra sanugaha adrishta purve bhuvi. So that is when Krishna couldn't stay quiet. He started crawling. In the front yard of Nandagopal's house, there were 2 large trees. There was a gap between the 2 trees. Somehow, Krishna managed to squeeze in. Like how? Like the auto of Chennai. 2 large buses, he will suddenly go. Yannappa, ipdi poriyappa, Setruvan sarona kundu. Since he says Setruvam, which means the auto drivers are the descendants of Krishna. They give moksham. What does Krishna give? Dharma, artha, kama, moksham. That is why we say auto car hai, 4 route therinja car hai. Do you get that? All philosophy our Talaivar has given. Tavad balanupadaya yasya nonyatra sanugaha. Krishna somehow squeezed into that gap of the 2 trees. Yamalarjuna drishtabala kelim. He went. But the mortar has to come. Mortar couldn't come. He gave 2 pulls. Those 2 trees fell. Meanwhile, Nandagopa, who used to come at that point in time after marketing to his house, for a minute forgot this was his house and went to the next house. Yashoda, Kabi, Mama, Namat Kondute. Namma ille பக்கத்துல தான் இருந்து 2 மரம் இருந்தது எங்க போச்சு உங்க பிள்ளை தள்ளி விட்டான். So I don't know how many of you know, in Nyaya Shastram there are 2 ways of describing an object. One is describing the inseparable property. The other with a separable property. For example, traditionally if you go to a village and you ask, Krishnamurti Shastrigal வீடது அதான் வாசல்ல ஒரு டெஸ்லா நிக்கிறதே அதுதான் அவரது. But you can't believe in this Lakshanam because if the Tesla is moving, then you won't find Krishnamurti Shastri's house. So this is called separable entity. Some are inseparable entity. இது கிருஷ்ணமூர்த்தி சாஸ்திரிகள் வீடு, அவர் மூக்குலேந்து விழுந்துட்டே இருக்குமே அதுதான் அவர். That is inseparable because till he dies that what flows from his nose will keep flowing. This is called Lakshanam in Nyaya Shastram. So every day they used to ask, which is Nandagopal's house? Because FedEx will ask, right, for delivery. The place where those two trees were, now those two trees are also gone. So what was inseparable also became separable in Krishna's birth. See, well, I used to keep working in 2015-16 in a corporate, full time I was working. I used to go to Pungunnam. Pungunnam is a beautiful village in Thrissur. Beautiful temple. Anybody from Pungunnam here? Please. You have gone to Sita Rama temple there? Pungunnam. Anybody else from Kerala? Beautiful village, Pungunnam in Thrissur. Nice temple, I used to go give lectures there. So in my office, they had to send a parcel. So my host was there, wonderful host. They used to treat me so well, shower love. So I asked that, Mama, in the office they are asking for address, please tell me your address. Illa oru big mango tree irukku nu ezhudhirungo. I said, Mama, I cannot write such address, house with a big mango tree. So this was the Lakshanam, and that was also gone. That is when the sons of Kubera, who were cursed to be trees, got emancipation through Krishna's act. Manigriva and Nalakubera, sons of Kubera. That said, Krishna one day told his mother, Mom, I want to go and earn. She said, come again? Who will give you work? You are expecting to be given a job? What job you will get? I will go, I'll allow the cows and the calves to graze. That's our Kula Dharmam. See, Andal says, Karavaigal pinchendru kaanam sherundu unbom. We will let the cows and the calves, the bovine race, graze. But I'm sure, I don't know how many of you know this. Traditionally, in Indian households, if the son or the daughter doesn't study well, the mother will say, Maada make outruve. But many children these days say, I will do that, I won't study. So Krishna said, I will let the cows and calves graze, come on. Mother said, please don't go, Krishna. By the banks of river Yamuna, I have heard there are many thieves. Don't go. You have mistaken, Yashodama. You don't know, I am the leader of those thieves. Yamuna nadi karayil eppozhudum kalvar bayam kalvanukku kalvanane ippozhudu pogiduven maadu meekum kanne nee poga vendam sonnen kachina paal tare kalkandu cheeni tare. So this is the conversation. Uttukadu Subbayar just immortalizes this conversation in a composition. Krishna leaves, he immediately texts his friends. Pichu, Raju, Chandru, come ready tomorrow at 7 a.m. They all put that emoticon. And how will Krishna know that they have read the message? Neelato yata madhyastha vidyulleke vavaswara. They will turn blue. So they all said, he said, bring your lunch boxes, get ready. Morning 7 a.m. they were all drowsy. Krishna, what is this? We have never seen 7 a.m. sun. Krishna said, you have never seen 7 a.m. sun? In Seattle, they never see sun. So they all started going. The cows and the calves, they all went ahead. Krishna held the lunch boxes and they all went. And they went and sat. At around 11 o'clock, Krishna said, it's lunch time. Now let's go by the banks of river Yamuna and let's sit in a circle. They all sat in a circle. They all opened their boxes. 1, 2, and 3. They opened. Krishna opened his lunch box. It was like mine. Guess what was there? Curd rice. Now you may wonder. See, I was telling this in Vasant Bihar, Delhi. I told you that? No, I didn't tell. I gave lectures in English. You may wonder whether I know to speak Hindi. I surely know how to speak Hindi. I won't speak amidst an audience who knows Hindi. So, I went there and I told Krishna had curd rice. They got offensive. They said, इधर थे उत्तर प्रदेश में हमारे प्रदेश में थे आप बोल रहे हो कि वे कर्ड राइस, जो आपके चावल है, मद्रासी चावल है, वो खाए थे, ये कैसा हो सकता है, तो बताइए तो. I said, see, I am not saying he had curd rice. Shuka Brahmam says he had curd rice. Masrila kabalam tatphalam angulishu. He says Krishna had curd rice with tatphalam, which means soaked vegetables, which is pickle. Tatphalam angulishu, left hand. See, I told him, remain happy. Shuka Brahmam says, Krishna had curd rice in his left hand and pickle in the right hand. This will make you happy. So, then he said, ठीक है, दोनों हाथ से है तो ठीक है. So, Bibhradvenum, so Krishna opened. Then the boy said, Krishna, please don't sit with us in the circumference. Go sit in the center. Krishna went and sat. The boys opened. Each one had coconut rice, this rice, that rice. They made balls. They extended their hands to Krishna and said, Krishna, eat. The commentator asks, these boys have never been to a school. They have never read Shastras, but they know one thing. First bowl of rice has to be offered to Paramatma. How did they know? Kim Shastra Ughaihi Kimitamitam Gopikabhyo Namostu. See, we have read Shastras, we listen, we will ask, why should I give God? Is he going to eat? Do you think he's going to eat the pasta that we give? Remember, Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritaha. Shastram says he's just not outside. Antar bahischa tat sarvam. He's within your stomach. So these boys extended their hands and said, Krishna, you eat. Krishna was seated in the middle. Bibhradvenum jatara pathayak shringavetye chakakshe. Vame panau masrila kabalam tatphala mangyulishu. Tishthan madhye swapadi suhrudo hasayannarma bhisvaihi. On the other side of Yamuna, there was a habitat where there used to be a widow who used to be feeding her little son every day at the same time. As she used to keep feeding the son food at the same time every day, the son would ask one question, Mother, where is Swargam? Where is heaven? Where can I get bliss? Where can I get pleasure? The mother used to point, show her finger upwards. And as the boy used to be awestruck, dumbstruck, open his mouth, she used to feed him. Same days, every question she used to ask. Same question this boy asked this day too. But the mother, who used habitual of pointing the fingers up, she pointed to the direction where Krishna was sitting and said, Tishthan madhye swapadi suhrudo hasayan narma bhisvaihi swarge loke mishati bhubuje yajna bhugbala kelihi. That is Swargam. Don't look for elsewhere. Wherever Krishna is, that is Swargam. As Krishna went and washed his hands after this food, it is said that the rishis became the fishes to consume the remnants. As he returned, he found neither the boys nor the cows and calves. Pichu! Pichu! Chandru! Nobody was there. Then Krishna attained his form and checked what had happened. Brahma had come and stolen them away. Vatsapaharanam. Why Brahma did that? As I told you. Brahma is like us. Mood swings. Suddenly he will do one stuti, next, then he will start talking again Krishna. He wanted to tell, hey Krishna, I am Brahma after all, and he took all those cows, calves, that Pichumani, Rajamani, everything he stole. Now Krishna is in a way responsible to the parents because it was under his instruction he brought these boys. Bhagavatam says for a moment Krishna became those boys. Pichumani, Rajamani, his Ratnastros, Dabba, the remaining curry leaf, everything Krishna was. So that day when the boys went home, the mothers as usual welcomed, but somehow the mothers thought that somehow I am getting attached to my own son. They were unaware that they were getting attached to Paramatma. Even while washing the dabba, it is so nice to wash this dabba because it was Krishna. Now, as this had happened, Brahma had taken all these boys and calves to Satyalokam. Satyalokam, they were Dwarapalakas, security men. आप कौन हो? मैं ब्रह्मा हूं. तो वो कौन है? कौन? Inside Brahma, people, there was another Brahma there. And next to him was Saraswati. The outside Brahma is telling the inside Brahma, no, you get out, that is my place. Saraswati tells, yaar naivar. Nyabu illiyama. Kanne. Kalaimane. Meanwhile, these boys give us butter. Yo, Iriya. I don't have a place. Then he had to bring the boys down. He has to keep them there, back in Vrindavanam. He brought. There the boys were already there. Now he is confused. If he goes to his lokam, there is another Brahma. If he comes down, there is another boy. Where to keep these boys now? That is when he realized his mistake, that the deities whom we worship have their own limitations. There is an antaratma to the deity. And that is when he realized he had committed a mistake and said, hey Krishna, please forgive me. The moment he said, the original scene returned where Krishna was telling Pichu, Raju. Now, Pichumani, Rajamani, who were with Brahma, had to be given to them, to Krishna. But these boys were not cognizant of the fact that they had already gone. It was that obbliviate charm. They'd forgotten. So while they went home, they started narrating about the incident that had occurred before, where Krishna was seated in the middle. That is when the mothers wondered, that menu what my son is telling, I gave him a year back. Why is he telling now? Naduvila kunya pakkam. That is why the shlokam reads. Read this in Bhagavatam. Etat kaumarajam karma hareratma hi mokshanam mrityoho paugandake bala drishtochur vismita vraje. The question asked by Shukabrahmam. See, Bhagavatam is an experience. You have to read every word. What Parikshit asks Shukabrahmam is, I have heard about an incident in the life of the greatest friend of my grandfather, which occurred. That incident says that the incident occurred while the boys were of 5 years of age, but narrated while they were 6. Etat kaumarajam. While they were 5, it happened. Mrityoho paugandake bala, but was narrated while they were 6. What is that incident? This is the narration. Vatsapa haranam. Now Brahma comes and does Shruti. Naumidyate bhravapushe taditambaraya gunjavatassa paripinchala sanmukhaya vanyastraje kavalavetra vishana venu lakshmashriye mridupade pashupankajaya. So while this happened, Vatsapaharanam, then Krishna one day told his dear brother Balram, you take rest. Mummy wanted you to help. Please stay here. We will all go. That is when Balram said, no Krishna, like every other day I will come. No. Vinayvara mena vibhukkadachit ekada tu vinaramam Krishno vrindavanam yayau. Yayau Ramam Rite Rajan. He did not want to take Balarama that day. Krishna went along with his friends to the banks of a little pond formed by a river. Get these words right. Bhagavatam says in the Yamuna waters. Yamuna is a river. River's attribute is to keep flowing. But when a river meanders in geography, we read about meandering of the river. It will go like this. Like for example, Jhelum, Ravi, they are all meandering rivers. When they meander beyond their given length, a small portion of the meandered bhagam gets detached from its original route and becomes a lake. It is called the Oxbow Lake. So in the waters of Yamuna was formed a lake, and in that lake was staying a snake with virulent poison. So we keep talking about pollution, right? He made the waters polluted. Pollution doesn't mean only plastic. What is not acceptable to that nature, if you throw, it becomes, some great Mahatmas keep telling, if you take a bath in a river, you should throw the clothes there and come. Have you heard of this? This is all gibberish. Shastram will never say things which will pollute nature. You don't want to take those clothes because it will be heavy because of water. You call it dhanam. What you give which is not useful to you is not dhanam. That is called immaturity. நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணதில் அவர்கிட்ட கொடுத்துருங்கோ. அதான் அவர் தானே கதை தானே சொல்றாரு, கொடுத்துருங்கோ அவர்கிட்ட. ஆற்றுல சும்மா தானே இருக்கு, அவரும் சும்மா தானே இருக்கார், ரெண்டு சும்மா இருக்கிறதும் ஒன்றா. So, as the boys were playing, The ball fell into the waters of that lake. Krishna went, stood on the bent branch of a Kunda Shakha and jumped into the waters. It was like a swimming pad. Since the waters were polluted, the shrubs, the grass, the herbs, and the tree around it did not have leaves. So when Krishna jumped from the Shakha, Vedanta Deshika says, after a long time, a little leaf was born. Krishna jumped into the waters. The boy said, Krishna, don't jump. Kaliya lives there, Krishna. Krishna jumped. There was no sign of Krishna coming back. The boys went and told the mother, Yashoda, all the inmates of Nanda Gokulam came and they all started crying, Krishna, where are you? Bhattadri too reminiscence this incident of Bhagavatam for a moment, and that is when the Lord enacted Kaliya Nartanam in Guruvayur. As he saw, he wrote, which means he had to write in a meter which is akin to dancing. When the Lord emerged out of the waters on Kaliya and started dancing, you know, in India, I don't know here, auditor will marry an auditor. They'll generally prefer an auditor. A doctor will always prefer a doctor. Likewise, Lord Shiva, Mahadeva, used to prefer only a dancer. So he ended up marrying Parvati. Both of them were great dancers. And whenever people interview me in these channels, they will ask, which is the most beautiful portrait that comes to your mind? I would say the dance of Shiva. You know why? I'm sure how many of you are learning, have or intend to learn classical dance? So in dance, one of the most important milestones is Arangetram. Before the Arangetram, there will be a photo shoot. You have to stand like this, lights will be placed, then the flower has to bloom, then Shankam, Chakram, then the parrot has to come. All these poses you will give. So then they'll say, keep like this side, turn this side, turn that side. This is not Nataraja's pose. As he danced, see, when you keep clicking pictures on a camera, you will get frames per second. So as Shiva danced, one of the frames was this. He was not giving a pose. That pose that he gives naturally is a beautiful pose. Nataraja's pose is beautiful. Lord Shiva once said to Parvati, we have to go to some other place. Kailash is very cold. We'll go to some other place. They came to a place with Tillai trees. There's a tree called Tillai. So they came to that place. And both of them, they said, let's have a competition. Who will be the judge? Is unanimously selected Vishnu. Vishnu, he was called as a Solomon Papaya. He had to tell who amongst the two was a better dancer. At one point in time, Shiva's kundalam falls on the ground. So Shiva, see in dance, I'm sure those of you who know dance, while dancers dance, there are chances the chain will come, this will come. You should not take it just like that. You should do a mudra for that and make the audience unaware that it is actually fallen and make it aware that it is actually a part of the dance script. So you have to take that, show it to the friend and put it back. This is dance. If you get into the nuances of dancing, you'll know this. So Shiva's kundalam fell. He didn't want to stop the dance. As he danced, he took between those toes, took that kundalam, lifted the foot at 180 degrees, urdhvam it is called, and fixed it in his ear. Parvati said, because I can't do this mudra, you are showcasing that you know this mudra. And she asked Vishnu, who has won? Vishnu said, see, he has won. She got angry and she went as Tillai Kali. If you go to Chidambaram, there's a temple. Next day, again, they pacified. They keep fighting, then they'll get pacified. Then Shiva, Nataraja Swami and Shivakama Sundari, they said, let's call Vishnu again as a judge. Vishnu said, see, one day I came. Every day you people keep dancing, what will I do? So he said, I will go back to my original posture and slept. So in Govindaraja's posture, he slept. One day Parvati said, Shivaji. Wait. We have been gloating about our dance. I will tell you, my brother Krishna dances the best. ऐसे क्यों बता रही हो पारू? क्यों ऐसा है? Because he is your brother. He is that big boy. How will he be able to dance? देखिए, when we dance, we alone dance. The stage doesn't dance. Whereas my brother dances, he dances and the stage also dances. Kaliya danced. See, you have to dance on a dancing stage. Imagine. So he is doing a greater job. Adalai kaanathillai ambalathiraivanum tan adalai vittu inge gokulam vandan oru adalinal shirayadavane oru maamani ragani madhavane nee adadu ashangadu va. Now when Krishna started dancing, Bhattadri writes, अथवारिणि घोरतरं फणिनं प्रतिवारयितुं कृतधीर्भगवन् धृतमारिततीरगनीपतरुं विषमारुतशोषितपर्णचयं भुवनत्रयभारभृतो भवतो गुरुभारविकं पिविजृम्भिजल परिमज्जयति स्वधनुशतकं तटिनी झटिति स्फुटघोषवति अधिरुह्य ततः फणिराजफणान् ननृते भवता मृदुपादरुच कलशिञ्जितनूपुरमञ्जुमिलत् करकङ्कणसङ्कुलसङ्क्वणितम्. As he danced, Kaliya had migraine. He said, I will leave this place, but if I leave this place, Garuda will come and eat me. Don't worry, Kaliya, I have danced on you, so Shankha Chakra Mudra will be found on your hood. He won't come. Now, when I told this in some lecture, somebody asked, Garuda eats snakes? Garuda eats snakes. Reality, Garuda will eat snakes. But in temple, the Agama Garuda, we have installed Garuda, right? He will have Puliohare. So original Garuda, Vibhavavataram Garuda will have snakes. Now in the temple we cannot give snakes. Snakes ellam kondu vechittunanga saapidunga. So we should not confuse. Again in Quora.com somebody will ask, why they are serving curd rice to Garuda in temples? It's patriarchy. It's wrong thing in Sanatan Dharma. Arey, see, Nrisimha, what will a true lion have? Flesh. But we offer Panakam. See, Agama Riti of Nrisimha is to offer Panakam. When they come within Agamam, you have to give the LCM. Whatever minimal every section of society can consume, you have to give. Because if you give some flesh, not everybody can have. So you have to give what is basic. That is why if they give some milk to Nrisimha, then vegans will suffer. Right? Vegans will say, oh, we are vegan, give me almond milk. Almond milk enga porudhu. So anala good ka pani. So it is called good ka pani, panakam. Now, after this Kaliya Nartanam, there were 2-3 occasions where there were forest fires in Vrindavanam. That is very common. In California, everybody nodded their head. Forest fires, Ama sir. So, as the forest fires used to engulf the habitat, they used to cry for help to Krishna. Krishna was a little boy. See, that is where. If that is a little boy, what we would have to... That is why we were not there in Krishna Avataram. That devotion should be there. Ekagrastham. You should trust in him. Rakshishyati iti vishwasaha. In Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam, we have this method called as Bharanyasam, Sharanagati. Our granthas clearly state from the Purana, Itihasa and the Samhitas that if you perform Sharanagati to the Lord, He will give moksha. Now we may ask, because the Grantham says He will give, He gives. This is trust. See, life lives on trust, right? If everybody starts distrusting every minute, life will become hell. You are trusting what I am saying is right. I am trusting that you are listening. This is my trust. Life runs on trust. So Krishna, when they cried for help, Krishna said, close your eyes. Krishna's big game was close your eyes. Close your eyes, they closed. He swallowed the fire. Sir, what? Can somebody swallow fire? If you go to many pubs, they will put some alcohol. Fire, they will breathe. that we will take photo. Now Paramatma is swallowing fire. Ye kaise ho sakta hai? Right? We are all people of, in a way we are hypocrites, sorry to say this. That our bhakti is so brittle that people can actually shake that up very easily. You did Archana last week in Malibu temple, and your son didn't get the required brownie points for AP course. Despite going to a magnet school, and immediately, this is our bhakti. That is why it can easily be shaken. We have not gone to a temple to make our son pass. It's not a business transaction, sorry. If you have mistaken it's a business transaction, we have miles to go. We have gone there to see my mother and father. I treat the Lord as my parents. My parents will die one day, he won't. I go there to see him, not to make my daughter or son get brownie points in AP courses. So our devotion is so brittle. You go back and think, anybody can shake our bhakti. That is why Ramanuja stresses, Rakshishyati iti vishwasaha. It is your devotion and confidence in the Lord that protects you, not the Lord. The confidence that you have in the Lord that protects you. So these boys said, you do. Krishna swallowed. Now, have you heard of Vallabhacharya? There is a sampradayam in Vaishnava sampradayam called Pushti. They follow that in Rajasthan and Gujarat, many parts. He gave us this beautiful work. Adharam madhuram vadhanam madhuram nayanam madhuram hasitam madhuram gamanam madhuram charitam madhuram madhuradhipater akhilam madhuram gunja madhura mala madhura yamuna madhura vichi madhura. See, the beauty about this composition is after reading this composition, your HbA1c will be 12. Every line there is the word sweet, sweet. He smiles, it is sweet. He walks, it is sweet. His lips are sweet. His eyes are sweet. Can we describe a person like this, sir? Isn't it wrong? Nee nadandal nadayalagu. Sirital siripalagu. Yenda poo kushpu idalam paadromo no. But when it comes to Paramatma, again this. How will a person be like that? We construct temple for her. Now the point is, this Vallabhacharya gave an exquisite commentary to Bhagavatam. It is called as Subodhini. Bhagavatam has beautiful commentaries. There is a Sridhariya Vyakhyanam, Veeraraghaviyam, Vijayadhvaja Vyakhyanam, Jiva Goswami's Vyakhyanam. Oh, beautiful commentaries. One commentary is Vallabhacharya. Now he asks, why did Krishna consume fire? He gives a few reasons. Swajana vaikalvyam nirikshyati. First he has to bring a solution for the fear. They were worried about fire. Immediately swallowing was the only way. You can't keep going to every house, taking buckets of water, going in the helicopter, spraying. It will take a long time. So he had to swallow. One. Kaliya sambandha kritadushtanam dahartham tamagni apibat. When he fought with Kaliya, it seems a lot of poison of Kaliya was stuck on his body. So the only way to get rid of the poison, the pollutants on his body was to get them burnt. So he consumed the fire. Third, see, Lord Shiva and Krishna are very good friends and neighbors in Kerala, Guruvayur. So one day, Shiva went and told Krishna, recently, I consumed poison. So Krishna thought, I'll consume fire and tell him. Recently, I consumed fire. Kalakuta bhakshanena jatagarbhasya mahadevasya garvanivaranartham. Bhattadri says another meaning. He says, fire, Agni has a property. It is called Pitatvam. Fire's property is Pitatvam. Pitatvam means to remain yellow. So, people thought that Pitatvam means to be yellow. Fire's property is Pitatvam. Pitatvam means to say yellow. Only after Krishna consumed the fire did they realize the other meaning of Pitatvam. See, when you go to a dictionary, what is that? In US, what do they follow? Webster's, huh? UK, they follow Oxford. Okay. There is another Merriam. Merriam. Adu yaru moonadu achariyala? Yaradu? Avale avakiliye vandruva. Andagu sishya parambara. Merriam Webster's. Ava dampati. Okay. So, if you see, if you take up a word, there will be a meaning. If there's another meaning to the word, they'll put a semicolon and say this is the next meaning. So, Pitatvam in Sanskritam means to be yellow and to be drinkable. Pitatvam means to drink. So, people were only looking at the first meaning. Pitatvam means to be yellow. Only after Krishna consumed the fire that they realized that Pitatvam also means to drink. So Krishna did that. Shikhini varnata eva hi pitata parilasatya dhuna kriyayapyasau iti nutaf pashupair muditair vibho harahare duritaihi saha megadan. Now, as we have this Sambhavam, now all the women, again this is a very controversial place, many may think, where all women wanted to marry Krishna. During his times, in all their rooms if you go, there will be one photo of Krishna. Like how that Virat Kohli, we have, Rahul. KL Rahul, then some problem he had. He was spotted in London recently. Correct? So that photo will be there. So in all their bedrooms, it will be only Krishna's photo. So if you are born as a man during the times of Krishna, it may invariably happen. You will remain a celibate and an unmarried person throughout your life. Because everybody wanted to marry only Krishna. So they did one vratam called Katyayani Vratam. Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayoginyadishwari Nandagopa Sutam Devi Patime Kurute Namaha. Please make Yashoda's son our husband. Now, the problem was not with Krishna. Yashoda, how will she manage 5 lakh daughters-in-law? So that is when Krishna said, see, marrying you all is not possible, but I'll give you a spiritual connection on one autumnal night. Wait for that night. As they waited for that night, there was another incident which happened here. One day, Nandagopala was discussing with his friends how to do a public festival called Indrotsavam, an utsava for Indra. Abala prekshaniyam pranata nimishair adbhutanam pradhanam dhuta trailokya dosham dhvajamamarapates turnamutthapayantaha grishtir namarchanabihi stuti gunanikaya gita nrutyopaharair udvelat pritilola vidardhura vikalais utsavam gopavriddhaha. They had to perform the Utsavam for Indra. So that is when Krishna, little boy, he goes and asks, Papa, what are you talking about? Father said we are doing Indrotsavam like every year. Why to Indra? Because he gives us rains. Is it his duty? Has he been ordained to give rains? Or he is volunteering to give rains? He'll fail. So he said, Krishna, I don't know. That is when Krishna said, Viditanaviva vignapyamyaham shrunutame shakuneriva bhashitam. My dear father, I am not as learned as you. But please give me an opportunity to present a few verses. See, this is how a speaker should speak. Then only the audience will be quiet. So he said, I want to speak a few words. Speak, Krishna. See, Indra's duty is to give rains. He is not doing this as a volunteering job. He has been paid. Every yagam we offer havis, it goes to Indra. He has been paid. It's a paid job. You don't give mamul to a person who receives salary. See, you get some money above the bench. Why will you give below the bench? You know, it's a saying in Tamil Nadu. Sir, avarkitta neenga kaasu kuduthurunga. Kudutha kaasukku nanna vela paapar. Yo, he is already getting a salary. Why should I pay him bribe? So that is when Krishna said, it's not required for us to do Indrotsavam. It's his duty to give rains. He will let the clouds discharge water. It's his duty. We have to honor the volunteers of Vedanta Sabha. because they are all volunteering. Correct? So what do we do now? See, all of them are employed. They all have a family. Yet, they plan events so well, 7-8 months before, they organize in the same place. They have to get the venue. They have to get chairs. Nobody is ready to sit on the floor. Right? So they have to get chairs. So all of this effort. So what is the best thing that we can do? Is to become members. This is my request. See, that is why I called him and asked, can I speak about this? He said, if you want, you can talk. It is my earnest request. You have to support organizations. You go to Alex Babu, you go to Raja Raga, you go to Aravind Saw, wherever you want you go, but become members of Vedanta Sabha. See, if in Sanatana Dharma we don't have one portion of the salary that needs to be compulsorily given for charity, it is in your hands. If you take efforts, they may conduct 1 or 2 activities which are beneficial to us, to our children in the future. That attitude should go. See, we have now become, from the civilization of knowledge, we have become a civilization of showing off. For example, temple construction, immediately you say there will be $10 million. In that temple, there will be 4 people, they will fight, then each one will start one temple. With no plan that 30 years from now, where will we get the priest and the cook? See, a temple needs a priest. He should have done Vedadhyanam. Agama Shastram he should know. Second, there should be a cook, because you have to get into the kitchen, offer food. See, Agama, just bringing the deity, oh, he's 10 feet, what are you offering? 1 mango. Agama Shastram has a calculation. If the deity of this feet, you have to offer so much of food. There should be a cook, there should be a priest. That we won't have a plan. If I have to construct a temple, I'll construct. So from the civilization that relied upon sharing knowledge, we have become a civilization of building temples. Then they'll say, no sir, Avvaiyar has said, Kovililla Urile Kudirikka Vendam. She told in singular. Kovililla Urile. She didn't say Kovilgal illa Urile. No sir, in our street we want one temple. Then what to do? That is why we have gone from that civilization of knowledge sharing to all of this. Trust me, don't think that I'm promoting upanyasams or discourses. I'm not seriously doing it. But the civilization has always thrived on granthas and grantha paripalanam, writing and sharing that knowledge. Tell me one temple that Shankara constructed, one temple Ramanuja constructed, existing temples they maintained. That was their greatness. They brought the administration well, they codified rules. Not one temple they constructed. They administered the current temples. We should become a civilization of renovating and restoring temples rather than building temples. See, all that we have to do in the temples of Bharatam is to subtract. Pallavas, Cholas were all, I'm talking from the South Indian perspective, like that Kakatiyas, Hoysalas, Rashtrakutas, they were all very good architects. You should have that eye for architecture. You should not put tick mark. I wanted to go to 5 temples, I went to 10. Very good. Where did you go? That I don't know. If you look at the temples of the Rajas, such great sense of, they had that aesthetic eye. Stone pillars, and between the pillars it will be empty. The air had to go and come out. Ventilation. Now what did we do? They constructed in pure granite. Exquisite architecture. We will buy 2 sacks of Birla cement. We will build wall between those 2 pillars and put one granite slab there, opened by. That is why when you go into temples, you find it so very sultry. You're sweating because we have constructed walls everywhere. So the way, that's a different topic. If I get into that, I'll keep going on. So become a member of Vedanta Sabha. Now, as Indra, as the boy, little boy said, the only one whom we have to honor is the volunteer. Who is the volunteer? Govardhana Parvatam, the slopes of the hill give grass, fodder to the cows. Let's honor Govardhanam. What should we do, Krishna? You all bring cooked food tomorrow. It's called Annakutotsavam in Sampradayam. So they all took different cooked food, varieties of food in their bullock carts and went to the foothill of Govardhanam. And they have to keep something on the floor to keep the food right. What did they use? Mama's veshti. See, Mama's veshti is a multi-purpose veshti. உங்காத்துல வடா ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கே, அவர் வேஷ்டியில போட்டது, அவர் வேஷ்டி சம்பந்தத்தோட இருக்கு, அதனால தான் அவ்வளோ டேஸ்டியா இருக்கு அப்படின்னு. So they have to put that veshti. Then they put mountains of cooked rice. Over and above that was a little tamarind thick paste. In Tamil it is called pulikkaachal. Sir, all this you are telling, is it there? Vedanta Deshika says in Yadavabhyudayam, the mountains of rice looked like Kailasha Parvatam, and above that was that dark concoction, right? It looked like the rain-bearing dark clouds. Why was that dark? Why should the pulikkaachal be dark? Because people who cook know that you have to make pulikkaachal with old tamarind. Pudu pulila panna nanna irukadu. Yogambal kuda solran. So, now all this was kept before Govardhanam, different sweets. And then the Gopas were very innocent, unlike us. They said the mountain has to eat. Will we keep the food there if the mountain eats? Will we? Ayyo, அவர் சாற்றுவார் வைக்காதீங்கோ. சும்மா வச்சா சாற்றுறார் இவர். So Krishna had to make them believe that Govardhana had accepted their bhakti. He said, do a parikrama. As they did parikrama, aham vaishvanaro bhutva, he consumed everything. They all went home happily. Indra got angry. He sent the Samvartaka Megham. There was a cloud burst. There was waters everywhere. People's houses, because they had constructed their houses on lakes, their house turned into lake. Chembrambakam was opened. So waters entered their house. Now they all were worried. They started swimming. They reached Krishna's house. They asked Yashoda, please open the door. What was Krishna doing? Seated on the swing. Chidai. Men may come, men may go, but I go on forever. Those women said, Krishna, we can't take this. It's so cold. Please protect us, because they were shivering. So, they were shivering. So, they have to speak. So, how did that look? Vedanta Deshika asks. It looked as if they were playing veena in their mouth. He says, Stana hita swastika bahubandha stanalaka sannata vaktra padma vilagna deha vasanair vishidar vrajastriyo vadita danta veena. Vadita danta veena. With their teeth, they played veena. This is all poetic beauty. See, if you get into literature, you will appreciate every bit of it. Now, that said, Krishna said, follow me. Again, something which is logically untenable happened. He used his nakam to draw a circumference around the hill. He said, get drenched for some time, I'll come. After a few hours he came, shook that hill, lifted and inverted, says Harivamsham. Why inverted? For which Vyasa says, only then the cattle will be able to eat the grass. Oh, he inverted and stood for 7 days like this, and they all sought shelter under it. Yashoda, my son alone is holding it for such a long time. People gathered around Nandagopa. Nandagopa, is this really your son? You have not performed any act which is worth commendable. Nandagopa also doubted. No, don't doubt me. In my childhood, I've lifted so many mountains. You are not aware. He stood. 7 days. The clouds were bereft of the rain waters. They turned white and they started moving. No rains to come. As they went, they all left. Krishna inverted the hill, placed it. Govardhana Giridhara Govinda Gokula Palaka Paramananda Govardhana Giridhara Srivatsankita Shri Kaustubhadhara Pavaka Bhaya Hara Pahi Mukunda Govardhana Giridhara. See, I tell this in most of my lectures, I'll repeat this. When we take up to shlokams in Sanskritam, some tidbits from my side. When the word ends with an akaram, you have to say that akaram completely. Govardhana Giridhara. That last akaram you should not swallow. Govardhan Giridhar. Who will say that remaining akaram? See, there is a difference in Hindi and Sanskritam. We may think they are the same. Hindi comes as a concoction from Prakritam, Brajabhasha, Avadhi, Bhojpuri and Maithili. It will have traces. The Dhatu Padam in Hindi says that you will have to not use that last sound. Sukshma roop dhari siyahi dikhava bikatu roop dhari lank jarava bhima roop. So bhima. Whereas in Sanskritam, bhima. A sound should come. That is the rule of Panini. We cannot change. If you don't want, you don't like, don't recite. But in Sanskritam, you have to give that last sound. And if it is a Dvitiya Vibhakti, for example, you know the simple rule, right? Subject, predicate, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, indirect object, direct object, S plus V plus O. So when you understand that, the Dvitiya Vibhakti will be the object. Aham Ramachandram bhavayami. So I meditate on Ramachandra. So Ramachandram will become the object there. So Ramachandram, that im is very important. For example, whom do you meditate on? The Acharya asks, I meditate on the one who is a personification of Shanta Gunam. The one who sleeps on the snake. The one whose nabhi from which there is a padmam. So I meditate on. Then every word becomes the object. So it is Shantakaram, Bhujagashayanam, Padmanabham, Suresham, Vishwadharam, Gagana Sadrusham, Meghavarnam, Shubhangam, beautiful body, Lakshmi Kantam, Kamala Nayanam, Yogi Hriddhyana Gamyam, Vande Vishnu. See, this Vande is the Kriya Padam, verb. So salute. Who is saluting? I salute. So that aham need not come there. Vande Vishnum Bhava Bhaya Haram Sarvalokaika Natham. Aham Vande, I salute whom? Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam. So it is grammatically very important. Shantakar, Bhujagshayan, Padmanab, Suresh, Vishwadhar, Gagan Sadrish, Meghvan, Shubhang, Lakshmi Kant, Kamal Nayan. We are not taking attendance. Vishwakar, present ma'am. Suresh, present ma'am. Kamal Nayan, present ma'am. That Suresham, if it doesn't come grammatically, it is wrong. I get tired. One. Now, in the Dakshina Paribhasha, in the south, unnecessary addition of akaram. Janaki Kanta Smaranam. It is not Rama Rama. Rama Rama. Rama Rama is wrong. Because Akaranta Vachakam is Strilingam. Yeno Suresha. Varo. ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಸುರೇಶ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಸ್ತ್ರೀಲಿಂಗ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಮರುಗೇಲರ. ಮರುಗು అంటే మధ్యలో ఉన్న యవనిక. Screen. See, in the Telugu and Kannada marriages, if you've seen, between the boy and the girl, they'll put a screen. So Sita is asking Rama, see, I'm not able to see you. Why should the screen come between us? మరుగు ఏలరా మరుగు ఏలరా, అది సంధిలో విచ్ఛేదం ఉంది. అది ఏక శబ్దాలో వస్తున్నారంటే మరుగేలరా ఓ రాఘవా. వై ది స్క్రీన్ బిట్వీన్ అస్? మరుగేలరా ఓ రాఘవా రాఘవా రాఘవా. కట్. ఇన్ రఘువీర గద్యం, వేదాంత దేశికా's beautiful work. జయ జయ మహావీరా మహాధీర దౌరేయా దేవాసుర. తప్పు. Even if a great mama says that with Pannandu Thiruman, it is wrong. Wrong is a wrong. Kutram kutrame. జయ జయ మహావీర మహాధీర దౌరేయ దేవాసుర సమర సమయ సముదిత నిఖిల నిర్జర నిర్ధారిత నిరవధిక మాహాత్మ్య దశవదన దమిత దైవత పరిషద్ అభ్యర్థిత. When you say that, you should get tired. That is Sanskritam. Valikoma దశవదన దమిత దైవత పరిషద్ అభ్యర్థిత దోషరది భోవే క్రతుహర శిఖరి కంతుక విహృత్యున్ముఖ జితహరి దంతి దంత దంతు రోంత దశవదన దమన కుశల దశ శత భుజముఖ నృపతి కుల రుధిర జర భరిత పృతుతర తటాక తర్పిత పితృక భృగుపతి సుగతి విహతి కరనత పరుడిషు పరిఘ కవి కటక సింహ కథితం కఠోర సుకుమార గుంభ గంభీరం భవ భయ భేషజ మే తత్ పఠత మహావీర. See, there are 4 bhas, 3 thas. కవి కథక సింహ కథితం కఠోర సుకుమార గుంభ గంభీరం భవ భయ భేషజ మేతత్ పఠత మహావీర వైభవం. See, every letter is the second padam. It's tha, it's tha, it's bha. Very tough. Vedanta Deshika will not give anything easy. So that word, where was I? Govardhana Giridhara. Now Indra comes and he says, I made a mistake, I should not have done. Why did this happen? The commentator writes, in Ramayanam, Indra was the one who said, please, this Ravana is very bad, please come and annihilate. For Indra's sake, the Lord says, using you as a vyajam, I shall be born as Rama, I shall restore dharma. But after restoring dharma, when Rama Pattabhishekam happened, check the last sargam of Yuddha Kandam, everyone attends Rama Pattabhishekam, but Indra. Indra doesn't come. Check. So this is a sign of being ungrateful. What is the word for ungrateful in Sanskritam? Kritaghna. Kritaghna means ungrateful. Kritagnya means grateful. Nya and ghna, difference. Kritagnya, grateful. Kritaghna, ungrateful. So the Lord wanted to teach this ungrateful Indra a lesson. In Rama Pattabhishekam, everyone came but Indra. So who is the A complement Indra in set theory? Correct. So he wanted that complement to come, which is A. When you do A union A int complement is when you get the universal set, right? So he had to get the complement bhagam. That is when in Krishna Avataram, when Krishna lifted the mountain, Govinda Pattabhishekam happened. He lifted the mountain. The mountain looks like a crown. So the milk of Kamadhenu was poured over him by Indra. So in Govinda Pattabhishekam, no one but Indra came. So Rama Pattabhishekam, everyone but Indra. Govinda Pattabhishekam, no one but Indra. So whatever was he felt bad in Rama Avataram, he got that corrected in Krishna Avataram. That is why Andal says there was a Kurai in Rama Avataram. That Kurai was not there in Krishna Avataram. Kurai ondrum illada Govinda. That Kurai was not there here. So this mountain was kept back in its own place. Now, for the Gopikas 3s, he said, I will give you one anubhavam on an autumnal night. That night had to come around 8 p.m. night. One lady was there and she was letting the milk. She was keeping the milk for boiling. What is the property of milk? It won't boil when you look at it. When you look at it, it will never boil. You turn your head for a second, it will boil. See, Bhartrihari, a great poet, he gave us Shatakatrayam, Niti Shatakam, Sringara Shatakam, Vairagya Shatakam. He says in one shloka, Bhartrihari is about 1900 years old. In the sense, 1900 years back, first century AD. He gives one shloka. He says, milk and water are the best of friends. Milk and water are the best of friends. Even in chemistry, we call it liquid in liquid. It's a colloid. That is why their viscosity is not so different. That is why they mix well. Since they mix very well, our milkman will bridge their friendship. Don't worry, Mustafa. He will put more water so that milk and water will get mixed. They are very good friends. The only enemy who can separate these two friends is fire. If you keep fire down and a milk pot over it, as that fire blazes, it separates the water from the milk. It's separating friend 2 from friend 1. So as friend 2 turns into the gaseous state called vapor and he leaves, the milk is feeling so bad. So he comes up, Paradesi, Paradesi, jana nahi. Mujhe chhod ke. It rises. It is very sad. The milk rises. Don't go, water. So the only way you can convince milk is take some water and put on its head. Keep quiet, go down. So this lady was letting the milk boil. That moment she heard, she heard Venuganam. As she heard the Ganam, that was good. No, don't take this as a prototype. As she heard the Venuganam, she was mesmerized. She internalized and lost to herself to that music. As she lost, the milk started boiling. She didn't even notice. Another lady, husband and wife are eating. He put 2 chapatis to her. She put 2 chapatis. He put some dal. Now her turn to put dal. But as she listened, the dal was there in the air. He's saying, dal, dal. She was mesmerized. Similarly, every woman in Vrindavanam, they're mesmerized by the music. What do we know from this? That the men in Vrindavanam had no knowledge of music. Else they would have also been mesmerized. See, it may so happen. That is why I said compromising is what life is all about. That mommy will be super duper in music. Pathela. Kalyani padumbodhu Yamana pudichuta. Avar. Ye ava poi Yamana pudicha. You know, Kalyani is a ragam. Sarigama, Sarigama, Padanisa, Sanidabama, Garisa, Srivagbhava. So when you sing that ragam, there is a paddhati in music. It's a very manodharma pattern where you take that swaram and meander around that swaram and go into the next ragam, neighboring ragam. It is called Graha Bhedam. And then you have to come back to the swaram. It's a very nuanced art. People who know music only can appreciate. So Yaman is Yaman Kalyan. Kalyani is that ragam. Kalyani is a Melakarta. You have to go. So this mommy who is very good in music, Kalyani len the Yamana tottutana, she's meaning that ragam. But this man thinks Yaman is Yama. Kalyani poi edukku Yamana totta. So see, that is why I've been telling, music, Shastriya Sangeetam, you can never teach a person how to appreciate. It has to come from the within. When a ragam is being sung, you should have that ear to understand that they've changed that ragam. See, to a person who doesn't understand music, Kalyani, Kamboji, Shankarabharanam, Kannada Bangla will all seem the same. Pathela and the Nishadatta Pudicha. Too cute. We can't. So the mamas there were not appreciative of music. Mommies were super duper in music, all members of Music Academy. So as the women started walking out of their houses towards the place where that music came from, Tadara na 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 tadara na na na. So they all walked. Kanakadasa says, Yadavaraya Vrindavana Venu Nadava Madutire. As they walked on the other side of Yamuna, standing below the shade of a shaka, a tree, was Krishna with the flute. How did he stand? There is one shloka by Leela Shuka. How to stand? தப்பு பண்ணிட்டேனா? ஓ ஆம்பர் அப்படின்னா என்ன? நான் சொல்லலாம். ஓ நான் சொல்லலாமா? So as Krishna was playing his flute and he stood below the tree. Here comes the verse of Leela Shuka who says how he stood. He bent, it seems, on one side holding the flute. His one knee was bent and the other foot was turned. This is called as Tribhangam in Natya Shastram. See, technically, you might have noticed many photographers will say, give me a pose, stand like this. You know, else people who do not know the nuances of Natya Shastram will start, Jana Gana Mana. Konjam chirikalame. So Krishna stood. Even his standing was so beautiful. And then Krishna said, see, all you women, you have come in a haphazard manner. I can't give you Daivanubhavam with this. Stand in concentric circles. How many women? 5 lakh women folk. Concentric circles. Even if you keep the diameter to this extent and a little breathing space, it will go for miles together, that circle. So you have a bird's eye view of that concentric circle. Krishna standing in the middle. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Last row, they will say yes. Like this it happened. Then Krishna said, have you all stood? Yes, Krishna. Yes, Krishna. Yes, Krishna. Leave a gap between the two of you. Gap, not that brand. Gap, woman. Gap, woman. Anganam, Anganam. Leave one gap. Have you all left? Yes. See, that's the greatness of Gopika Stris. If he had told us, yeah, what do you know? That is why, see, that is why we are not a part of Bhagavatam. Else we would have got moksham that day. Why are we sitting here in Dallas? Why am I flying to Dallas? None of us have got moksham. They all stood. Krishna said, close your eyes. Closed. Open. The women were surprised to see Krishna on either sides. Angana Mangana Mantare Madhavo Madhavam Madhavam Chantare Nangana Ithama Kalpite Mandale Madhyagaha Sanjagau Venuna Devaki Nandanaha. Bhattadri says in Rasapanchadhyayi 69th Dashakam, beautiful Dashakam of Srimad Narayaniyam, how he visualized and how he saw Rasa Krida. Keshapashadhrita pinchika vitasi sanchalan makara kundalam. Keshapashadhrita pinchika vitasi sanchalan makara kundalam. Harajalavana malika lalitam angaragagana saurabham. Pita chela dhrita kanchi kanchita mudangajam shumani nupuram. Rasakeli paribhushitam tavahi rupamisha kalayamahe. There, one lady, she was about 80 years old. She was also a part of that Rasa Krida. Her doctor said, you are having vertigo. He used to give her medicines. Today, she is dancing after a very long time. So that lady swooned. As she fainted, she fell onto the shoulders of the neighboring Krishna. So the other Krishna goes and buys some Bovanto and sprays it on her face. This lady gained consciousness. But she acted as if she was still unconscious because she did not want to lose the beautiful opportunity of lying on Krishna's sandal-smelling shoulders. She still lay, "Mommy, get up." She was still like this. Bhattatri says, he may not know, but I have seen you. Svinna sannatanu vallari tadanu kapinama pashupangana sandramam samavalambate smadhuta tanti bharamukulekshana Kachida chalita kuntala navapatira saragana saurabham vanchanena tava sanchuchumba bhuja manchito rupulakankura. What is Rasa Krida? The philosophy is very, very clear. Vedam says, listen to this very clearly, else you will have this doubt. Your children will ask, if I dance in a prom, you are questioning me? Whereas, when Krishna dances, you are celebrating. Why this impartiality, Mata? No. First answer to this is, we should stop comparing. When it rains, Krishna lifted the mountain. Let us lift one mountain. See, when we compare with someone, we should not pick and choose what is relevant to us. He played the flute, he lifted the mountain, he danced on a snake. Why Krishna did that? Krishna did. Second, in Vedanta there is a vakyam. Yasya atma shariram, yasya prithvi shariram. Remember this, there is a vakyam in Vedam. Yasya atma shariram, yasya prithvi shariram. To whom the jivatma, atma here is jivatma. Jivatma, chetana vastu is his body. To whom Prithvi is representative of Achetanam. To whom Achetanam and Chetanam is the body, is called as Paramatma. How do we know that? Naranam Ayanam Yasya Saha Narayanaha. The one, Naranam, the one to whom whose body is Chetana and Achetana is called as Narayana. Jivatma and Achetanam is the body. Remember this rule. That is why in Sahasranamam we say, to whom is the body? Sura, Nara, Kaga, Go, Bhogi, Gandharva, Daityehi. What is there in his body? Sura. Who are Suras? Talabadi sir, Sura. Who is Sura? Devas. Sura. Nara? No, we will come in two categories. I'll tell you where. Sura, Nara. We are partly in Nara category. Sura, Nara. Khaga? Go? Avare shuliter. Endu pedungo. Go. Bovine. Bhogi? Reptiles. Very good. Bhogi. Gandharva? Yes, Satan. Alle Gana Gandharvan alle Yesudas. Gandharvan. Pinne? Gandharva. Daityehi? Rakshasas. We fall in that category also. That is why I said we come under Kadavul Padi Murgam Padi Kalandu Sayida Kalavai non. So, this is his creation. Sura, Nara, Khaga, Go, Bhogi, Gandharva, Daityehi. What are these? Chitram Ram, Ramyatetam, Tribhuvana Vapusham. The one to whom the entire creation is his Vapu. Vapu means body. So the entire creation is his body. See, let's take our example. There's a Jivatma within. This is my body. If I touch my hand, okay, let's take, there's another person next to me. I slap him. Correct or wrong? You tell me, Aruna. Wrong. Because she's next to me. So, if we hurt the other person physically, we say it is wrong, you should seek the permission. Correct. If I touch my own hand, is it wrong? No. The entire creation is the Lord's body. If this is the Sharira Shariri Bhavam, if he touches Pankajam mommy also, he is actually touching his own body. Because we are not cognizant of Sharira Shariri Bhavam from Vedanta, we think he's touching another person. He's touching his own body. So what he did was to dance within his own creation. Right? See, people who are very shy, coy about singing, they will go to the bathroom and sing. Right? Krishna wanted to dance. So he danced on his own. That own is the entire creation is his body. We are seeing her as Pankajam Mami, Hema Mami, Saroja Mami. No, they are his body. Now, a person can extrapolate this and say, why did you throw the bomb? See, I threw the bomb on my own body. If I throw on him, it is equivalent to my body. Somebody can misuse what I say. That person can misuse only if he protects the people by lifting the mountain. If he knows only destruction, he can't use this. Now, this is Rasa Krida. After this comes a beautiful place where Akrura comes. Akrura is Kamsa's minister. Kamsa finds out that he points out that this must be the boy who is born to kill me. He sends Akrura, his most trusted minister. Despite being a minister, he was good. So, that minister Akrura comes. And the moment Akrura comes, they all were happy. Inhabitants of Vrindavanam, because a representative of the king has come. They honor him, they are very hospitable to him. Atithyam, Argyam, Padyam, Achamaniyam. In the night, Akrura tells Nandagopa that Krishna is not your son. The moment he hears Nandagopa is in a shock. He goes and tells Yashoda, Yashoda, this is not our son. Akrura says this is Devaki and Vasudeva's son. For her, Bhagavatham says, that night, every second was like a yuga. She was praying that let not the sun rise, because if the sun rises and the day dawns, my child will go away from me. The next morning, when it dawned and Krishna had to alight the chariot of Akrura and leave this place, Yashoda and the other Gopikas threes run behind the chariot. Who will tell him to go take bath? Who will feed him? They run. It's a very emotional scene in Bhagavatam, because Krishna turns and looks at them with eye-long glances to mean he will never return. He never returns to Vrindavanam. So, Maitai dvijaskarunasya nama bhudrakrura ityedadiva darunaha yosa vanashvasya dukhitam janam priyat priyam neshyati paramadhvanaha. See, as Krishna goes to Mathura, we also should notice that later, Krishna, he makes friends with the student of Gishpati Putra, Brihaspati Putra is Uddhava. Uddhava, being Krishna's friend from then on, he moved with Krishna so much so that people used to mistake who Krishna for Uddhava to be Krishna. Because see, even in Dampatyam they say, there is a rule in Dampatya Shastram that if the husband and wife manage to remain together for many years, then 30, 40 years later, they will start looking like each other, behaving like each other. It is called Sahavasam. Need not be a dosham always, Sahavasam. So, they'll start looking like each other. You know, something startling I'll say in Ramayanam, Rama tells Sita, Sita, I've been asked to go to the forest for 14 years. I'm sure my father must have meant it for my good. I will miss you, the world is small, let's stay in touch, mua, and then he left. Sita said, where are you going? To the forest. Where are you leaving me? In Ayodhya. With your mother? So she said, I will join you. Rama, there is a vachanam, check Ayodhya Kandam. She says, Rama, you think you can get rid of me in this janma. Don't you know that Shastram says that the couple who are a couple in this janma shall continue for 7 janmas? I told this in one lecture. Half my audience disappeared. Indalodiya. 7 janma, vendanna. But there is a rule. So here Uddhava started looking like Krishna. By being with Krishna, looking like Krishna, he developed that little garvam that I am like Krishna. Krishna wanted to show him the mirror. So he tells Uddhava, Uddhava, I promised the Gopika Stris that I shall visit them. You know the administrative responsibilities that I have. I'm not able to honor the promise that I've made. Can you please be my representative and go meet the Gopika Stris? Uddhava says, okay. He comes to Vrindavanam. The moment his chariot comes, many years later, Gopika Stris wonder if this is Krishna. They think this is Krishna, pull him down. Uddhava has to say, no, I am not Krishna. They don't allow him to say. One lady brings one Mysore pak, stuffs in his mouth. Krishna, how many days, Krishna, you have not had my Mysore pak? Take it. The other lady, what is this Mysore pak? I will give another sweet. He has to open his mouth and say, I am not Krishna, I am Uddhava, but they don't let him. One starts caressing his feet. The other one says that I will bring the lotus flower and fan you, let you get the sweet breeze of the lotus. Uddhava starts shedding tears. He thinks, my devotion was the greatest. I thought, evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita nashrutava kim shastraugaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu. He says, evam bhakti sakala bhuvane. I have never seen a bhakti what these women show. Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita. I have never seen. Nashrutava. I have not even heard. Kim shastraugaihi. What is the, I keep telling that I am the student of Brihaspati. What is the use? These women without reading Shastras have so much of devotion. Me, despite being the recipient of Ivy League devotion, I don't have this much of bhakti on Krishna. Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita nashrutava kim shastraugaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu ityananda kulam upagatam gokulat uddhavam tam drishtva hristo gurupurapate pahima mama yoghat. Krishna, Bhattadri says, please bring the devotion what Gopika Stris had for you to me. Now Krishna has to go to Mathura. Now, as he enters Mathura, see, Mathura people were very happy because their own, அப்பவே அவர் மூக்க பார்த்தாலே தெரிஞ்சுடுத்து நம்ம ஊர்க்காரர் தான் வாங்க உள்ள. Get in. As Krishna, now there's a beautiful question which Bhattadri answers. See, as much as I respect Bhagavatam, for me from my childhood I've heard only Narayaniyam. So Narayaniyam is a bigger emotion than Bhagavatam. So in Narayaniyam, Bhattadri asks one question and answers it beautifully. Very important for all of us. Whenever we face problems in our lives, physical ailment, mental agony, financial problem of not having children, problem because of children, both. If you don't have a children, you'll feel bad. If you have a child, then you'll later feel bad. Both are problems. So, we come across various problems. That time, everybody, however learned, greater they are, they'll have one question in their heart. Why me? Don't we have this question, why me? I've heard of Bhagavata Saptaham, you'll tell your friend, I don't know, I heard Bhagavata Saptaham last week, even then that person will say, that is why. No. So we have this thing, why me? That is when our Acharyas say two things, remember this. Adi Shankara, an intellect par excellence, walked across the country, died at 32 years. He could have lived for 100. He would have done better, much better. But he died at 32. Nammalvar, 32. Ramanuja, 120 years. In that 30 years, he had to run away from a tyrant Chola king called Adhirajendra. They were waiting to kill Ramanuja. Ramanuja had to run for his life. Vedanta Deshika, in 13th century, when Ulugh Khan, Muhammad bin Tughlaq attacked Srirangam. See, when you read history, you will know what sacrifices have been made. We keep reading Aurangzeb imprisoned his father, Aurangzeb. That is our old knowledge about Aurangzeb. Tell me 10 Chola kings' names. We won't know. Rajaraja, that is our Jayam Ravi. Aditya, Chinnanjiri, Nilavi, Shya, Vikram. Our knowledge is restricted. Tell me 10 Chola kings' names. 650 years in the medieval period they ruled. We won't know their names. We will know. Babaraya Namaha, Humayune Namaha, Shahjahane Namaha. I am not saying you have to learn select parts. Learn the entire history. Don't hide. 1323, inscriptional evidence. After Malik Kafur's attack in 1311, 1321, he started his expedition. His name was Ulugh Khan, the son of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. 1323, on the beautiful day of Panguni Uttiram in Srirangam, he ransacked the town. When the Vaishnavas stood there for protection, he cut 12,000 heads. Documentary evidence, read. Inscription. People ask, right? Proof. Read the proof. Mathura Vijayam, literary evidence is also there. The heads were cut and they were attached in the place of coconuts, says Ganga Devi in Mathura Vijayam. Read this work. In the place of coconuts, the heads were hung. The word, even a Britisher in 70, he translated that work. He writes it. The Koleroon turned red. Koleroon is Kollidam. It turned red. There is a temple there on Kollidam. It's called Pannirayiram Sri Vaishnavarai Tarai Tiruthiya Pandriyalvan Sannidhi. Temple was ransacked. Vedanta Deshika, the great Acharya, had to sleep amidst the dead bodies to protect one Grantham because they will burn the manuscript. There was only one copy. He kept it on his head and hid himself in Shruta Prakashika Bhumau Yenadau Parirakshita. So now, Vedanta Deshika had to escape the tyrant king. What all problems they underwent, we have to look up and say, when great acharyas have undergone, who are we? Poondanam lost his child. Bhattadri had rheumatoid arthritis. Radhishankara died young. Ramanuja ran from the Chola king. Vedanta Deshika ran from the tyrant Ulugh Khan. But we always ask, why me? As if we are greater than them and we should not suffer. Bhattadri gives a reason. I'll conclude with this. Let's see what Bhattadri says. Bhattadri was a great scholar. Bhukhande, Kerala ke Sarita Nihanilam, Uttare Naivanava, Kshetrada Vyutamatne, Punarupari Navagramanamni, Swadhamni, Dharmishtad, Bhattatantrat, Akila Matapator, Matradattad Vijendra, Jato, Narayanakhyo, Niravahadatulam, Devanarayanagnya, Mimam Sadi Swatata, Nigama Masvilam, Madhavacharya Varyat, Tarke Damodarariyadapi Padapadavi Achyutakhyat Budendra Tesham Karunya Yogat Kimapicha Kavitam Apnavam Karmametat Bhuyat Krishnarpanam Me Bhavatuja Satatam Dhiradhare Katayam. This is Bhattadri's own intro. See, when you are ragged, you will give your introduction, right? He gives his intro in a work called Prakriya Sarvaswam. He says, what are all the granthas he has studied? Mimamsa, Tarkashastram, Vedanta, Vyakaranam. Intelligent to the core, Bhattadri was. But he suffered from the highest degree of rheumatoid arthritis. Fingers were bent, legs were bent, he couldn't bend anything. He used to keep asking, why me? Why should I suffer? Why should I suffer? He gives an answer. Look at the answer. Remember, Atma is eternal. Atma was never created. Some will say from Paramatma, one small bit he cut and gave. This is not some cottage cheese. Atma is eternal. No, sir. Voldemort split his Atma into 7 called Horcruxes. Rowling wrote well, but she didn't listen to Vedanta Kalakshepam well. Atma is never created, it is eternal. Body is created. See, Atma keeps traveling. This Janma, I've got this body. Maybe last Janma I was in Ukraine. Before that I was in Afghanistan. I don't know. Body will be different. I may have been a dog. I may have been a cat. Body will change. Community will change. Atma will remain the way. That means all of us have Atmas in our body. The Atma is eternal means we must have lived even during the times of Krishna. See, when Yuga changes, it doesn't mean Atmas will all be brought together into one Mavu. No. Atma will remain. Achida Visishtan Pralaye Jantun Avaloke. Somebody said you have to tell about Daya Shatakam. Yeah. The shloka comes, Achid Avisishtan Pralaye Jantun Avalokya Jata Nirveda Karanakalebara Yogam Vitarasi Vrishashailanatha Karunetvam, says Vedanta Deshika. We were all there eternally. That time the body was different. During Krishna Avataram also we would have lived. But we don't remember what we lived as. Bhattadri says, today I have understood why I am suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. He says, during Krishna Avataram, when Krishna reached Mathura, all the inhabitants of Mathura came out of their houses with a golden platter to welcome Krishna. Everyone, they were very happy and they welcomed. That time when Krishna was welcomed by everyone in Mathura, Bhattadri says, I must have been one of those inhabitants who out of arrogance said, why should I welcome him, and I would have stayed inside my house. Because I didn't come out of my house and welcome Krishna, today I am suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. He says, Tavannischita vaibhavastava vibho natyanta papa janaha yatkinchit udate smashaktyanu Tambula malyadikam grinhanna kusumadi kinchana tada marge nibaddhanjalihi. In the margam I didn't put my hands together. Natishtam bataha yatodya vipulam artim vrajami prabho. That is why I am suffering today. What is the meaning? We ask why me? Because we only see what is told in this janma. This janma I did good. But remember, when you add 19 plus 18, what do? Units place. 9 plus 8? Calculator 9 plus 8, 17. You put 7 down. What do you do with that one? Carry over you have, right? Similarly, when the janma ends, there will be a carry over of karma. That carry over is why we are suffering. We cannot get into the self-piteous mold. Sir, I may have performed in that last janma. Now I don't know about that janma. Even then, you will bequeath what you have done in the past. Correct. See, for example, generally, if you have done a mistake in Bharata Desham, imagine I have killed 2 people. I have exited Bharata Desham and come into a new Desham. Still, my agencies will come and arrest me. I have left this country, you cannot say. That karma was performed in that land, but still it is you who has performed. That account, demat account is attached to you. So you have to bear the pluses and minuses. I know it is very easier said than done. Even though speakers say we all give these reasons, when we have problems, we too ask, why me? That is a human mentality. But the answer is, we are the makers of our own destiny. Our karma is what is good. Now you cannot say, so then why is the Lord there? Because during that karma anubhavam, while you are suffering, when you meditate on the Lord, the suffering will not go away. You will not have the intensity and the pain of that suffering. See, when you pray, sir, if I pray, will that rheumatoid arthritis go? No, it will stay. But since your mind is in that, you won't realize the pain that you are undergoing, yet you are suffering. Remember that you are suffering. Your mind is elsewhere, that is why you are not suffering. Imagine when we all have arrived here. Do you think that all of us, both me, all of you, we don't have problems in our life? If you ask one person, just go and ask some, if you ask anyone, they will tell their own problems. If you ask the child also, children will have their own problems. It is not that we are all bereft of problems. But when, imagine, trust me, I'm just hoping, when you're listening to Bhagavatam, those 2 hours, somewhere you are not cognizant of that problem. But after you leave, that problem will continue. That is why they say those 2 hours in Krishna Anubhavam, you are forgetting that problem. Extend that Krishna Anubhavam for more time. You will be able to forget the problem for more time. The problem will not disappear. See, if we say that problem will disappear, then we will have those modern gurus. You come to me, I will remove that problem. In our Sampradayam of Ramanuja and Deshika, no such miracles. They will say no miracles will happen. You have to suffer. Then why are we coming to you? If you do devotion to the Lord, if you are devoted to the Lord, you will forget the pain. It's like anesthesia. See, during the operation, anesthesia is put, it will become numb, the operation will happen. There will be a post-operational pain. That is why they keep giving painkillers. So the pain is there. Painkiller will not remove the pain. You will not have the experience of pain. The pain is there. There will be some side effects. Similarly, dharmam, siddham, satsampradaye says my Acharya Vedanta Deshika. If you're in a sampradayam, the Acharya should say, don't worry, do your karma well. Let's see what God does. This is what an Acharya should say. Take this lemon. Keep this lemon in your puja room. What will then slowly lemon carrot, the entire puja room will become one vegetable market. This is not what an Acharya does. Siddham satsampradaye sthiradiyam anagham shrotriyam brahmanishtham satyastam satyavacham. Deshika gives 16 qualities for a guru. He should never give false hope to the student. இது பண்ணுங்கோ அப்படியே மறைஞ்சு போயிடும், ஒன்றும் மறையாது. Trust me, a true Vedanta student will never believe in such things. Lemon you take, put that on this. Next day you see, அந்த எலுமிச்சம்பழம் எங்க ஆத்துல வாடவே இல்லை தெரியுமோ, அது எலுமிச்சம்பழமாவே இருக்காது முதல்ல. I am not making fun. That is how our Acharya. Tell me one incident from the life of Paramacharya where he would have done that miracle. No. He will say, do your Sandhya Vandanam well, do this well, do that well, then good things will happen. An Acharya should do advise only that. Sir, you also start advising, give such pariharams. If I do this and start advising, next I will buy an island. That is the next state. In our Sampradayam, we call ourselves as Bhagavad Ramanuja Dasaha, servant to Ramanuja. Let whatever problem come, we will face it. Rakshishyati iti Vishwasaha. If he has given me a problem, he will give it only for my good. Tarutuyaram Valal Aruthuchudinum Maruthuvanpal Malada Kadal Noyalan Pol. Alvar says, the surgeon uses the sharp instruments and cuts your body open. Will you allow any other person to do? Why do you allow the doctor to do? Because you trust he does it for my good. If the Lord tests you, you have to believe that it is for your good. Vadal Aruthuchudinum Maruthuvanpal. A doctor has performed open heart surgery. He has cut me open. 2 weeks later in a party, I'll introduce. I told you, right? He is the doctor who cut me open. You will love that doctor. You will love the doctor who cut you open. Vadal Aruthuchudinum Maruthuvanpal Malada Kadal Noyalan Pol. You will get attached to the doctor who has cut you open. Because you believe he cut you for the good. Tarutuyaram, so Alvar says, Vadal Aruthuchudinum Maruthuvanpal Malada Kadal Noyalan Pol Tira Tuyartarinum Vittuvakkottamman Ara Vanudarale Parpanadiyene. Even if you trouble me, test me, I will still love you. That is devotion. With that devotion, what will we do? We will come at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Please remember membership 1, 2 fruits, limited fruits. Because finally they'll put it next to me. Now I have to leave for, if you have relatives in India, for you it may get late. If you have relatives in Bharatadesham, ask them to watch me on Times Now. 2 hours, I'll be giving running commentary for the inauguration of our new parliament. So in Times Now, thank you. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Namaskar.